advantage, and just being able to leverage that inside of the match, allow GT to continue on forward against TTV.
Sir Unknown, hello everyone. How's it going? Go, hello. Hi, Pika, welcome to your stream. Welcome to my stream. Welcome to my stream. Hello everyone, how's everyone doing? Powerless, what's up? Good luck today, Powerless. Powerless, do you feel comfortable? What's the leak some strats? Are you gonna run some Kufra or what? Oh shit, you see my background? Can you guys see my background? Sheesh, Kingdom Heart. Bro, Kingdom Heart's sick. Bro, you were late now. It's my stream. What do you mean it's your stream, bro? Sir, I know you're trolling me. It's my stream. Stop trolling me. CH Monster has no respect for Zane. FF. Ah, I see. I see. You like your IGN on Mobile Legends? Oh my god, my back is so itchy and I'm using a back scratcher. I want to get this started. First game, right off the bat, BTK versus the Ohio Brothers. I'll give you guys a little breakdown of their rosters and stuff like that. So, you know, everyone knows the Ohio Brothers, that's Hoon's team. Everyone knows that Hoon's on that team, best player, which is Carlos, BTK Shark, I should say Yureshi, and Basics on that team, and then they have Prince Reaper 9 as their sub. I don't know if he's going to play today. I think Yureshi's going to play today, but in case he can't, they have Reaper as their sub. And then BTK, let's see BTK's team. It's pretty cool. They keep track of stats and stuff like that and like team records and stuff. So BTK has obviously Mobazane, Yuna, T, Dio, and who else is there? Yata. Who are their subs? Did they added subs? Oh, I think they added Easy Peasy and Joy Boy. It's gonna be a good matchup. Really good first game. It's gonna really set the tone. Bro, you actually crying listening to Kingdom Hearts songs? That freaking remembers me of my ex. Bro, Kingdom Hearts sounds always the best, bro. Simple and Clean is always gonna be one of the best songs. Please turn off the music in the background. I mean, it's just the studio's music. I'll turn it down a bit. Can you guys hear me now? Hello, hello, hello. You guys hear me now? Hello, 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 hello. My bad, guys. My bad. Let me know if it's better now, or if I have to turn it down more. Best tank, my idol, officially Rain. Hello. Hello, guys. Hello. 2 more minutes. Well, 2:41. I'm gonna start soon. But honestly, it's gonna be a really good game from both teams. I really feel like this game could either go either way, like the Ohio Brothers can win or BTK to win. If I really have to choose one, it'll be tough because I'm a BTK fan, to be honest. Been supporting them since, you know, the start. Really good friends with Zane. and their members. Like I really like they have a really strong team, right? The only thing they lack is synergy, but Zayn really shapes up his team. What I mean by that is that he really like set up scrims and push plays with his team a lot to help build that synergy as soon as he can. You know, like I know like Zayn's not gonna go down without a fight. Like, you know, it's not gonna be easy breeze for the Ohio brother today. Like they're gonna put up a good fight. I feel like the only thing they really lack is like synergy, but also the Ohio brothers, like, you know, like Basic, Shark, and Hoon have been playing together for almost like 8 months now, or for a long time. So they already have that synergy down pat. Like Shark already knows what Basic plays and how they play each other and what they want from one another. So they already have that synergy. They added 2 new players, which is Carlos and Irashi. But 2 are really good players that they've been playing a lot in the past. That if they just play like again, like it's easy for them to like, you know, build that synergy again because they already know what they want from each other because they played so much before, you know. I think this game's gonna go a best of 3. It's gonna go either way. Like either BTK is gonna win 2-1 or Ohio Brothers go 2-1. But it's hard for me to pick one because from what I've seen and heard, like, you know, BTK is doing good, but they're lacking synergy, and they really have to step it up. And this is the moment to step it up. This is like game day. It's prime time. So they really have to step it up today.
Is a special presentation
hello.
Star Studios.
So if I have to pick, to be honest, I'll go BTK, but I think it's going to be 2-1, and I think it won't be clean games as well. It's going to be really difficult games from both sides, for both sides. Sheesh, look at this production. Huge upgrade. I'm really excited about to see the production as well because well, obviously grown. I think it's obviously grown, right?
History says, work hard, play harder, embrace the grind. The journey is an arduous lane, yet creates a lifetime bond. Fight, learn, reach beyond. History can't say what happens next.
Sheesh. An ACT spring season.
Welcome to the 2023 North America Challenger Tournament spring season. This is week 1, day 1. I am your host Liz, and joining with me here today are our dynamic duo, the brilliant and charming casters, Private in his human form, and Ben. How are you boys doing today?
Who am I thinking of winning? I'm gonna go
the
BTK.
Potato King here,
I gotta go with my
potato,
gut.
minus the king, but plus 1.
I gotta go with my gut
good
here.
friend here, all the way from the NASL
But
desk here to
like
the
I said, it can go either way.
stage
It's
of
gonna,
the
like I think it's gonna go to game
NACT.
3,
Allow
and it
me
can
to
go
welcome
either
Ben
2-1
Dunham.
BTK or 2-1.
Thank you,
the
Private. I
Ohio Brothers.
appreciate it. Happy to be here. My heart is pumping, ready for these big matches today. Day 1, and we're starting off with a bang.
For sure, guys. First things first, let's take a moment to talk about how the show is going to go down. We will begin with 7 weeks of regular season games and 1 week of playoffs, all streamed online. The regular season
I'm
takes
both
on the
insane.
double round robin
Bro,
format,
what the hell?
where each team
Sir
will play
Unknown, what the
every
hell, bro?
other team not once but twice. That's a total of 14 matches per team, which is sure to push these players off their limits. The top 4 teams of the most wins will advance to the playoffs, featuring our regular double elimination style. The grand finalists will then travel to Las Vegas for the Ultimate Championship,
Vegas.
where the tournament will be streamed live on May 14th. So remember to mark your calendars now. Before we get too wind up with the hype, let's focus on today's matches. Private, run us through the schedule of day 1.
Well, North America has been talking, and this is the answer starting things off. It's going to be the Ohio brothers taking on the Bloodthirsty Kings in a match whose result is sure to ignite a fire in North America. After that, it's going to be Ackerman taking on Team GOSU, former regional champions.
Big matches in off Lami Top versus Wasians, and then to end the night with a sweet match, Area 77 versus the Empire.
Samantha, hello.
Sure, that's some intense
Hi,
matchups. And for the players, let's take a look at where the money's at and what these players are fighting for. This tournament features a $50,000 worth of total prizes, including 24,000 USD cash and 900,000 diamonds, which is absolutely insane. First place will be walking away with 15,000 US dollars and 75,000 diamonds. And most importantly, the grand champion will have the chance to join the MSC Mobile Legends Southeast Asia Cup. That's the first time North America will be represented in that tournament, which shows us how far the North America team has really come.
100,000 diamonds. I mean, if my math is correct, that's at least 2 JJK skins, right, Ben?
Yeah, I'm gonna be buying a couple of those, and I think it's a huge thing because this is gonna happen twice, right? Not just this season, but also the next season as well, twice.
Now, and for you guys watching at home, we have a special giveaway for you. We're giving away 30 advanced tournament chests where you will have a 995% chance of getting tickets, Magic Dust, premium skin fragments, and a 0.5% chance of one of these 10 skins like the Great Inventor or Floral Knight or Layla's Saber skin. I know I am waiting to add into my Layla collection. Now, without further ado, we are going to look at game 1. What are our predictions for game, guys?
I mean, it's been a topic of discussion in North America, but all the casters came together to give their predictions, and it does look like a little bit of an overwhelming support of the 2-time regional champions, well, actually 1 time, but twice with Zane, in favor of BTK. And I mean, you're hard pressed. He's proven himself time and time again, so I think a lot of people are just kind of hard pressed to kind of bet against him this time, Ben.
Yeah, if you're a betting man, it's hard to bet on anything but Zane. But I think him being on a different team now kind of splits up the Valley, right? We have a lot of Valley members on the side of Ohio Brothers, and a couple of the casters have leaned that direction.
Yeah, it will be a special matchup between Zane and his 3 former teammates where they competed together all throughout the World Series. So that will be something to watch out for. But without further ado, what we've all been waiting for, game 1 is already begun. So let's give it away for the casters to take us to the draft pick for the game 1.
You know, this is such an important match. I'm not even playing, and I'm nervous for these guys.
5 layers and 5 take rolls.
Have been talking about in North America.
Honestly, I think 5 layers.
Continuing on with the chapters and the story that is the Book of Zane, or are we starting a new book here that is in favor of who? In favor of the Ohio brothers? We're gonna find out here in the next few minutes.
What a way to start the day, start the season. BTK versus Ohio Brothers, maybe the 2 of the top teams, right? And I think this is going to be a big day, but these teams have a lot of time to grow throughout the season, right? This is only day 1, so yes, it's important, but man, we got a lot of games coming for these guys.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and start off. Looks like we have a Fanny ban and a Kaja ban coming up, but let's talk a little bit about some of these lane matchups too. You've got Zane taking on best player Yato, taking on Hoon Theo against Shark Lord T, against Yureshi, and Yuna against Basic. I mean, it could go either way. I don't think a lot of people are taking away from Zane over best player, but definitely a lot of eyes on Shark and Basic in their matchups as well.
Definitely. I mean, these guys have a world's experience, right? They're bringing out a lot coming home from that experience. And I think as far as pressure goes, these guys are going to be good to go. But in these lane matchups, we'll see where it breaks down. And like we said, this is only the first time they've met, but what a hype way to meet, you know?
Yeah, and very interesting too, like I've talked about it before, this is the eternal struggle. Hoon and Zane have been facing off since before Mobile Legends. This is the Batman versus Joker, the King Kong taking on Godzilla, the Powerpuff Girls taking on Mojo Jojo. This is the matchup that all of North America is vying for and trying to build towards, and might set the pace for the rest of this of these series that are going to be coming up, and not just one. But after that, we're going to see if these teams have learned anything when they face each other again.
Yeah, I think we have the two teams at the top of the bracket facing off, and they may well here in this game define a little bit of the first steps of the meta for our season as we go into this. So we're really looking at these picks to see what develops out of this. What will be banned out, what will have a huge success rate, a huge win rate, and things like that carry on in the tournament. A lot of that will be set right here.
Yeah, and especially because we've seen a pretty big focus when it comes to some of those thicker, tankier jungle roles, and then possibly going into the actual roaming picks as well. So it's going to be very interesting to see if those kind of play a part and where these bannings are going to start focusing.
Yeah, let's take a look at what we got on the screen here. Fanny, Theramus, and Joy banned over the side of BTK, and they really run those bans a lot throughout the qualifiers, and they first lock in Valentina, which is a very good start. Oh, just kidding, maybe not a start Valentina.
So they have Joy Bosch playing.
I do like the Valentina pickup because it kind of, I don't want to say it counters, but it does leave open a lot of counter ability towards what the side of the Ohio brothers can pick up. Whether you're going to get like a Colt Alter, whether you're going to have something else from a roam there that you're going to be able to copy on there. So great pickups by them. And then, of course, newly added to the roster, Joybaj picking up that name brand Cho.
Yeah, Joybaj takes place for Theo right here in this matchup, and I know Joybaj has a nasty Cho. Some people call him the Yowie of North America. He is an incredible Cho player, and so we're looking to see him make those picks, but I have to praise the Ohio brothers' first pick here. Taking that Fredrin is such a huge takeaway from Zane. I'm so glad they didn't let him have that.
Yeah, he's actually been just a huge menace in the qualifiers. It's basically been to the point that if they're going to allow him have it, you've basically kind of signed your own death warrant there. So they take it away. The only problem here is where it's going to be played. I haven't seen too much of Shark playing that. I'm not a huge fan of the Fredrin.
Shark's on his comfortable pick.
In other positions other than a jungle. We're going to see where it lines up here. I just feel like he's more useful in other things there. We do see that Shark going ahead and securing that Lolita. One of his, brand picks that he was actually able to enforce into M3. So a very good and comfortable pick for him.
Really I love him on Lolita. He feels very comfortable in it, and the team plays different around him. Really when he has that. And I think it's so good that Hoon got Farsa here, and it allows them early game rotation. This should provide them with Lolita and the Fredrin passage through the river very early so that they can get to these ganks in the side lanes quicker than the BTK will be able to match up, at least in the early and mid game.
Yeah, there's been some murmurings about how these side lane matchups are going to be. I technically kind of have it in favor of BTK with some of those side lane matchups, but with a Farja, with Shark on that comfortable Lolita pick, you're going to have the fast rotations, the support to those side lanes to maybe cover up some of those weaknesses in the side and get you that early start that you need to kind of enforce your will against BTK, who is known to see a little bit of trouble if it comes from an early aggression. They sometimes can kind of stutter trying to pick the game up from there.
Yeah, I wanted to actually look at Mobazane's pick here, and if Fetchin's gone, he usually goes to the Akai. I wonder what would happen if the Akai wasn't available and what's his third pick, but he does get that neutral objective control for the team, and BTK as a whole plays Mobazane teams in general play so well around early game jungle control, and he really controls the river, controls farm for at least the first 10 minutes of the game, and I'm really looking for a team to pin him into that and play against his farm-focused gameplay and maybe go for kills, do something a little bit different.
Yeah, the interesting thing here is he picked up the Akai, I feel like, because we picked up that Lolita. They didn't want that banned out. And I was actually kind of scared because after you get the Akai, the obvious pickup for me would have been the Diggy. But we already have our support out there. The roam is already out there. So, I mean, do we risk having a Diggy out there as an additional? I don't think so. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays in because this is where they actually had trouble last time. They picked an Akai, but they left it open for their opponents to have the Valentina. So
pushing,
even
bro.
though the Akai's
They're
heavy
not gonna
spin
pick
was
Diggy
getting
because
blocked,
they already have a
Valentina
tank.
had a heavy spin of
They
their
already have
own.
Lolita.
Now they have the Valentina and Akai together. So they're
you
going to
can't
have
pick
not
Diggy.
just that, but you also have the availability
Where's
of
Diggy gonna go?
Feathered
Gold Leaf?
Airstrike and a Numenon
Diggy jungle?
Blast
Yeah.
on your side to be able to take from the enemy there. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this stacks up.
Yeah, big, I think, draft out of BTK in the first 3 picks. I love it. I think Hoon has a rotation advantage in the mid, but throughout the rest of the draft, I really like the first 3 picks of BTK. They've banned out some marksmen here, while on the other side, the Ohio brothers have actually targeted the XP lane. So T is going to have a little bit of pinned optimization here. The Glue's gone, the YZ's gone, the Lapa's gone, and he's been a very strong contender on all 3 of those picks.
Really
Looking to see what he goes to as his 4th pick in this draft.
Beatrix? Okay.
Yeah, I think a big amount of
least on
contention has
Assassin,
been
he's better?
the Yureshi.
Okay, that is true, but
taking
Zayn is a
on
better
Lord
marksman, right?
T in that XP lane.
We could both
who is
agree that
really
Zayn's a
gonna
better
be coming
marksman
out on
than,
top, which is very
Carlos?
interesting for me because I feel like the XP lane is something that gets overlooked
I
a lot.
definitely
It can be a boring lane
agree
where
to
not
that.
a lot happens and you don't really get the highlights that you want if you're doing your job like perfectly and correctly. You're just pushing your tower, making sure your team has that pressure in that lane. But this has been a big spot of contention as North America's been wondering, Lord T, Yureshi, who are we going to go with here? And it does look like we're already taking the steps forward from the Ohio brothers to kind of ban out some of those characters that T is known for.
Ooh, a Ling. I never thought we would see the Assassin into, but that gives a lot of split push availability. And of course, Basic goes to that carry once again. We've seen him very comfortable on carry, played a lot of M-Series games on the carry, but I do believe that Unicutie will have advantages in the lanes at certain power spikes and that sniper advantage for range. I think the Ling plays into Kai very well. You don't have to go head-to-head and you can ult over him if you need. It also gives the Ohio brothers split push pressure, right? They have the ability, and this means Frederick's in the XP lane. The Farsa and the Ling can move around the map so quickly. BTK can't keep up with that pace.
Yeah, and that is something to be talking about as we get into the late game there, that you can have this split pushing from Ling and still have the presence at the Lord for him to get back there so quickly. And it's going to come down to see how fast that BTK can kind of get the advantage and kind of close it out. We do have a little bit of late game pressure there from Yuna on this. Are we going to stick with that? Is that the chosen one?
That's spicy.
That's a great early game pick, especially if you're going to be invading or trying to put the pressure onto best player on that Ling early game, because as most assassins go, you need that early game advantage. If you start lacking it, you're gonna have a little bit of trouble kind of carrying yourself into the mid and late game.
And I think Masha and Cho do that so well. So mobile, so quick, can run into the jungle and cause, honestly, havoc for Ohio brothers. In the draft right now, I really favor BTK's draft. What do you think, Private?
Honestly, we're going to have to see how this Ling is played. It's going to be very interesting, especially with these early rotations. I'll go over and lean over to the side of Ohio brothers here. I do like having that Frederick taken away from Zhang, and then, like you were saying, the Ling pressure there. Especially now we have Hoon and Shark, who are going to have these massive rotations.
So they have
if that
conversation
isn't
to
cut out
talk
soon,
about.
I feel like this could slip into Ohio's favor.
Yeah, when's the last time we've seen a Masha game, bro? This is truly a treat to start off the season here. Masha in game 1, day 1 of the NACT Spring Series. What are we looking at, Private?
Yeah, and this is just going to be an amazing game. We're already talking about it. You see Shark already pressuring onto this purple buff, trying to make sure that they have the vision, have that pressure on the Zane, who sometimes does have a little bit of issues when it comes to this early invades and early pressure that comes onto his teams. We're going ahead, starting some damage on there. Shark's going to be able to get out with about half health there, so no worse for wear.
Yeah, both mid lanes clear out the mid lane and roam and rotate immediately. And I think Farsa will have the advantage moving through, but they need to keep that pressure and make sure Farsa can get out of that mid lane and rotate.
Yeah, we also see Yureshi already coming here into Yato's going to need that flicker to get away, but great rotations already from the Ohio brothers, who come in here to meet them and make sure that it is not a fair fight. And we're already starting to steal jungle from Zane. Best player trying to come in here is going to go ahead and secure that buff away.
Great moves out of Ohio brothers to set the tempo in this game. Fredrin moves down and overpowers the mid lane, but Zane may be in a little trouble.
Yeah, he doesn't have his level 4 yet, too. He might not be able to get out of this. You see who coming in here with the stun?
They ganked
down for Zane. T powerless to do anything about it. And that is a 4-man rotation. This is what we were talking about earlier. You have Lolita, Shark on that Lolita. You have Hoon on that Farja, and they're just able to out-rotate and come in strong.
Zane walks into 4 people when the jungle camp was already stolen and kind of like drifts into the enemy team there and gets punished. Now Zane, the leader of his team, is first blood. How will this affect his rotation in the rest of the game for him as he's a little bit slower in the jungle? He still doesn't have level 4.
Yeah, well, the good thing about it is he's not playing an assassin. So as a tankier jungle, he can allow some of these, a little bit of a looser play when it comes to these deaths that he can take. Great job by the Ohio brothers to go ahead and cut that lane in preparations for this turtle. It's going to be the first one here. You see Joybaj and Yato coming up from the side, trying to create some pressure. Turtles getting dragged over to the side of Ohio brothers. Moba Zane coming in as well. It is going to be a 3v3. You see Lord T coming in from the end. A little bit of a dance here, a bit of a tango. Not sure if both of these guys are singing the same song here, as Joybaj is going to go ahead and have to G Hundo out of there. Lord T just investigating. Hoon going to fly in with that wings by wing. Here comes the feathered airstrike. Takes both Joybaj and Yato down to about half health. And this is going to mean that this first turtle might be going over to the Ohio brothers. Yeah, Shark goes ahead, clears out the jungle, makes sure that Zane has some pressure on him. So great first engagements by the Ohio brothers so far.
Yeah, almost 700 gold, almost 1,000 gold ahead now in this game as the Ohio brothers taking an early lead, and Zane decides very early to leave that turtle alone and keep farming his jungle. He goes to get blue, he goes to get red while that's going on. He didn't even contest for turtle, and it's a really good switch, but something we don't see often is that BTK is pushed off the first turtle.
Yeah, just an amazing ability right now as we're starting to kind of wait for that mid game. I mean, right now, the early game definitely in favor of Ohio brothers. They've got the rotation, they've got the damage out. And I mean, like I said, it's as it comes to these turtle fights and as it comes to the presence in the map right now, it's pretty much all Ohio brothers. And we're waiting for that sync, that damage output to just start shining from the side of BK.
It wouldn't be a BTK versus Ohio series, the most hype one, if we didn't have a pause. Am I right? So I think this is going to be a little bit of a rotational advantage showing in the gold thus far, right? This early game is completely dominated by how others. Farsa gets out of the lane so quick. Ling can be wherever he wants, whenever he wants. And I think just BTK wasn't ready for that in the beginning. I also think Yureshi on the Fredrum being able to walk down from the XP lane without being punished, that Masha early isn't putting it out like what it needs to. We'll see as this presses into the mid game. I think Akai still has neutral objective control, but a good start from the High brothers, almost 1,000 gold up.
Yeah, and that's these little things, these little non-mistakes that you make up there. You're actually not really concerned with actually the verse in the XP lane, but gonna come down, make sure that his lane is cleared so that he can support his team for these meetups, whether it's something as simple as a Litho Wanderer or all the way into a turtle. Joybaj's going ahead, clearing out that bush right there. You see a little bit of damage coming on to Zane as both the Ohio brothers and BTK kind of vying for a little bit of position here in the mid.
Yeah, now the BTK has their ultimates. Akai still level behind, but they have the heavy spin. They have the Cho ultimate as well to make picks, and everything's going to start to become online. The problem is Ohio Brothers has a very strong advantage. Link has a level up on Zane, and so that means his retro will always do more damage. He just has, even though Akai has neutral objective control, it feels like Ling kind of is the exception to that.
Yeah, but what I haven't seen just yet is I've been seeing a lot of people caught out of position for the side of BTK. Once we get to these team fights, this is going to be a different story. When we have Yato stealing the ultimates, that might actually change the formation or the platform of these matchups. We're going to see how well that comes under. Yato in a little bit of trouble, does get caught with a stun, and down comes the damn Yato. Almost able to get out of there, but still taken down by Hoon. And that's just the collective effort of this team right now. They are just in Synergy City right now.
And that's going to press more jungle pressure in, and Zane's going to have at least a little bit of people walking those jungle, seeing where he's out, getting vision on him. And just as Private says, getting caught out of position, Yato gets caught by Lolita and the Farsa and burns the flicker. So that's almost a minute and a half now with no flicker on Yato, and he takes the death. It feels so bad to flicker and still die.
Yeah, and we are going to Lord T gonna get some vision here as we have the turtle on the side of the Ohio brothers, and we have zoned out basically the rest of BTK. Joybaj's gonna try to come in, catches a stun for his efforts. Here comes the boom. No, here comes the Hoon laying down that damage with that feathered airstrike to make sure that BTK stays away from the turtle, and another secured objective for the side of the Ohio brothers.
Great zoning ultimates from Hoon here. Not only does he get the zone of that artillery, but he's putting damage into the correct members of every time it's either Joyboy or Yato and pushing them out of the fight. And if they do come to contest, they're a level behind in red streak, and one of their guys is like half health. It's just a great usage from Hoon to set up these team fights using the ultimate early.
Yeah, you do see that BTK trying to lock on the Shark, who safely flickers out of the way. That's 4 members right now trying to rotate out and still not able to find the setups that they need. Right now, Joyba is trying to come down to the bottom lane. Shark doing a great job of collecting this vision here right now, but we do see in the background Hoon coming in with that Farja, trying to make sure that they have some position. It is a 4v3, 4v4 right now. I'm not sure if this is the fight that they want. Joybaj is going to have to go ahead and dance his way out. Hoon coming in with that wings by wings, not able to catch Yato. So a great job by both teams. Nobody got caught yet, but definitely not an advantage for BTK yet.
Yeah, Hoon has 2 kills. He's got the Clock of Destiny completed. He's on to his second item. Boots already completed. Huge damage on Unicutie.
Yeah, Unicutie actually is going to have to reverse and those breaks and head back to base there. All that damage coming down, and no towers taken yet, but this is the force that you're getting from the Farsa and the rotations right now. And this is what I was talking about before when it came in those qualifier matches. You saw Hoon on this Farsa. They were just a menace, able to rotate so quickly.
Big plays coming out of Hoon. He's really the leader of this team right now, and honestly making the calls from the mid lane, rotating out. 2-0 on a Farsa is just what he wanted to be. This is what the Hire Brothers drafted for. This early game rotational advantage, and they're pressing it to BTK. BTK has to hang on. They have to find picks with Joybo, who hasn't really been active in the game yet. 0-0-0. Hasn't found a pick on that show to make that Yaoi level play.
Yeah, and right now they're kind of on their back legs here. 2 towers already pushed in, none for the side of BTK. Still kind of waiting for that power spike, but I mean, still getting manhandled. Joybaj does come in, catches a stun for his effort. Shark doing a great job of making sure he is there to peel for Hoon every single time he lays down that damage. Rest of BTK here, Mobazane and Joybaj going to go ahead and find an escape here, but still no pressure on the map right now for the side of BTK.
4,000 gold league at the 7.5 minute mark. Huge lead for Ohio Brothers in this first game, and I think a lot of it has to do with Hoon, but maybe a flicker in. They're zoning out this turret, trying to get even more.
Oh, we do see that heavy spin comes out, but a beautiful petrify.
Oh,
catch him,
nice
and we're gonna see if
okay.
might be taken out there very quickly. Here comes the Tempest the Blades down, landing onto Joybot's gonna take him out there. It's a 1-for-1 trade, but this is the first signs of life that we have seen from BTK, letting the Ohio Brothers know that they are not down and out of this match yet.
Big plays coming out of BTK. Finally, Joybaj finds the Farce in the back, kicks through, and then the stolen deleted ultimate from Yatsu comes down to pin the kill. They do trade one back, but you're right, it's a sign of life out of BTK. They also, Masha split push the top turret down and gets a little bit of gold for the team.
Yeah, so they're still trying to kind of macro up here to try to even out that gold. I wouldn't say that they have the advantage yet. They still are behind and still have to watch out for some of those plays, especially coming from Hoon. But a great job from Joybaj to get in there, isolate out Hoon, and then be able to have his team take the advantage there. Unfortunately, looks like we are going to yet another pause here. Definitely want to make sure that these games are even for both teams, and that both teams are kind of playing on that parallel battlefield there without too much lag. So we're going to go ahead and make sure that everything is on the up and up in the back there.
Yeah, it's always important to, at this level of play, to keep that integrity in the games and make sure everybody has a fair game. It removes all the other things that can happen, and I really like that part. Let's go for this T pick. Right now, Masha, I haven't seen much of an impact, a little bit of a split push on one turret, but what are you going to see from this Masha? Is it that split push threat in the late game? Is there team fight pressure? I haven't seen much of it. What happens?
Well, and that's the interesting part there. You have a Masha, but you also have a Ling. So if we're talking late game where you have the split pushing possibilities, I'm not sure how much more Masha can do, but we're gonna go ahead and jump right back into it. We do see that Numina Blast coming down onto Yato, jumps the blades on to the damage now. Mobazane actually able to get out of that as well. Joybaj comes in, a beautiful way of the dragon, does land on the best player, but does not take him out. Joybaj is gonna find a quick escape there. No worse for wear, just Yato getting taken out there, but you see already, the Ohio Brothers right back onto it, gonna go ahead and take another tower with that advantage.
Yeah, I don't know if Yato didn't get the call for pause to be done, but he was not ready for that engage. The Ohio Brothers lay down in the mid lane, and then they instantly rotate over to the side lane to pick another turret. It's a great example of not only playing for kills, but making sure your kills are objective focused. Get a kill, push an advantage, get an objective, and I think the Ohio Brothers right now are a class act in that.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect any different from the very pinnacle of North America here. 3 members rotating for BTK. Joybaz in a little bit of trouble. Is going to have to go out of the way. Shark with the Numenon Blast does catch Joybaz, and it doesn't look like BTK is going to be actually be able to counter this right now, as the Lord's going to be going over to the Ohio brothers. Mobazane actually in trouble here in this tight little corridor. Might not make it out. In comes a heavy spin, able to go ahead and loosen it out. Tempest of Blades comes down, but is not able to find a target.
Great disengage and not getting punished even further, but right now I don't see that BTK really has an answer for this Lolita Farsa setup. This Lolita sets up on top of the Farsa and dares anyone to come interrupt her and just starts that ultimate. Maybe I flicker, maybe I don't, but at least I'm covering Farsa, and I think it gives such a zone control around Hoon, really allowing him to control and dictate these fights before they even start sometimes.
Yeah, and that's the perfect explanation there, is that when you have that feather airstrike coming down, in comes Shark, you see putting down the damage and the protection for Hoon there.
And here, right? They can
BTK
pretty much
just does not have an answer for it, and you're exactly right. What do you do when you have the Farja laying down all that damage, and then Shark just sitting in the back with that Numenon Blast? He's already going to go ahead and slow you down. Joybot trying to come in here. We do have a lot of damage to trying to defend this tower. BTK, they still are left to inhibitors. More minions pushing towards mid. Numenon comes in, but Zane comes in with the quick thinking. Is he caught though? Half health right now. You do see a retribution coming out there. Joybaj does jump out there, jumping back in with the little dance. Another feathered airstrike coming down for Hoon. Numenon Blast from Yato does not catch Hoon. No targets there yet. Nobody down. Everybody is able to get away, but a lot of damage and a lot of pressure put onto BTK.
Ohio brothers with that push threatened an inhibitor, and it's only a hair of HP left, but they don't get it. BTK does defend their inhibitors at least. Ohio brothers are 8k gold ahead, 11 minutes. This is an enormous gold lead, and that affects itself in itemization. That means more items, more damage, more items, more tankiness. And right now, it's just such a gold advantage coming out from Ohio brothers. BTK are fighting back from 8k behind.
Yeah, and not just that, but even with this type of advantage, I mean, where do you go from here if you are BTK? I know you're going to try to get Joybots to try to get into that back line to try to isolate somebody, but not at the cost of losing someone. You see, we have a Numenon Blast coming down. Joybot's going to try to get out of it. A big stun landed on, as well as that big boy damage coming from Hoon, putting on there. Heavy spin comes out from Zane, who might be in trouble. Tempest Blades coming out. He is not enough to catch a target there. You see Basic with that speedy light wheel just putting on the damage to the minions, as we have some rotating up. We haven't synced up the lanes here just yet, but we are starting that stranglehold by refusing all of this jungle from BTK.
You're right. The jungle's been taken away. Zane's been choked out, and he has to share lanes with XP now. They're not even using a Lord to push in. The next Lord's in 20 minutes, Brian.
Yeah, and we do see that again, coming in with that bulwark from Shark. Hoon in the back line, putting on the damage with that feathered airstrike, and this is one inhibitor that has gone down. There's only one left for BTK. Joybaj goes down. Here comes a flicker with that Numenon Blast. Does not catch a target just yet, but the story has been written right now. One inhibitor left from BTK.
Yeah, they really got hope for late.
That looked like a really bad fight, but the silver lining for BTK is that Joybaj picks the Ling. Best players down for 20 more seconds. Can BTK do anything in this 20-second mark to cement themselves and regain control?
Yeah, well, you see Lord T taking a whole heap of damage from Basic here right now. He's going to have to back up to his team there. You're actually doing a great job of zoning out the rest of the players there. Hoon takes a whole lot of damage there, almost half health chunked there from Yuna, and we have started on this Lord. Zane trying to get himself into a great position. A great read by Ohio to zone him out. He can't even get around without me. Look at them already pushing him away from this Lord, allowing Basic to go ahead and put on the damage. Hoon is going to have to back up there. Yureshi trying to play the wall here to back up the rest of BTK, but that allows the rest of the Ohio brothers to take down this next Lord.
It's going to be near on impossible to defend from this next Lord push. It will be a Luminous Lord, and this will be pushing in with only one inhibitor left. What can BTK do to set the map and make sure these waves aren't synced up?
Well, and that's the problem here right now. You're at such a loss. You're at such a gold deficit. You're waiting for the side of Ohio brothers to make a mistake. You can see right here, even the lanes kind of synced up, kind of coming down at the same time. Luminous Lord barreling down through the middle lane. You don't really have it on the far end lanes, which is where you would like it to try to take this top tower, which is the only, I want to say, saving grace for BTK right now. So they can focus their efforts here up at the top and mid lane. Lord is coming in here right now. You do do see the focus coming in.
Here
Rest
we
of
go.
The Ohio Brothers come in, conceal play. That is short work for that. Hoon laying down the arsenal for the rest of the Ohio Brothers. And Lord T gets crunched down as a heavy spin. Might be it. This might be the first game going over the Ohio Brothers. Chapter 1 of this mega engagement goes to Hoon and his brand new team, the Ohio Brothers, over BTK.
Just mid differential.
Huge
Shark and Hoon
game
play
for
so
Ohio
much better
Brothers.
than
10,000 gold ahead, a little bit more.
player.
Honestly, making this not look like a close game, Private. That was a stomp out. Honestly, from the very first rotation, Ohio Brothers were in control, and Hoon uses that far to expert ability, rotating on these lanes. Honestly, creating a landscape in which BTK can't walk in the map anymore.
Yeah, and especially from the early game, I want to say just the entire, I want almost just the tightness of rotations and of this composition. Yureshi immediately from the get-go clears lane, makes sure that he is there to feed into these engagements. And this is usually what BTK has done to other teams in the past, where they get that advantage and they do not let go. They keep that stranglehold on you, and like a python, they keep squeezing and squeezing until there's nothing left. And this is exactly what Ohio Brothers did to them.
Yeah, I want to look at the T pick, honestly, because all those bans stacked on the XP lane, I felt like it had a real effect. Masha didn't seem like she had a great effect at all in this game. I was kind of wondering, like, the whole time, where's Masha? Where's Masha? And 0-1-0, not a big effect. But let's look at the star of the show here. Basic 3-0. Hoon himself doing so much work. Only 2-1-6, but man, this dude did mad work in the game.
Yeah, as much as Basic, I mean, the kills over to him, I feel like Hoon, as we were talking about before, the rotations with Shark on that Lolita, I mean, the both of them played their roles perfectly. Every single time Hoon planted his feet into the ground and went for that feathered airstrike, you had Shark right there to make sure to keep him safe. I think there was once that Joybosh was able to kind of get in there, but that wasn't, I don't think that was when a feathered airstrike came out. I think that they just got caught when Joybosh came in with that show. But for 90% of this game, Shark did his job, made sure that that his mage was covered, and that none, especially with the team here, you didn't really have somebody that could dive into that deep, into that back line from BTK.
BTK has to go back to the shop and figure this out, because this was 1,000 gold league per minute increase for Ohio Brothers. At every minute of the game, they were rolling through them. 9 turrets to 1, 2 lords to none, 3 turtles to 9. It is a shutout for the side of Ohio Brothers. This was honestly a
that's
disaster
how like most competitive games should be like.
Let's see what their mental's like when they can come back and say, okay, we went down one bad. What are we going to do to change this up? I think it may lie a little bit in getting T a good pick, number one, but also taking away Shark's Lolita. I feel like they play different with Shark's on Lolita. Take that off the board, make him play something else.
I hope like in this like lead in this NACT, I don't see like.
Well, we're gonna take a look here in one of these replays, slowed up for your guys' convenience. You just see here, even when trying to get their own purple buff, just the pressure all the way from the side. Yureshi able to come in onto Zane there as well, and then Shark setting up this beautiful Numenon blast, and then Hoon right there from the back, getting ready to lay down this feathered airstrike as soon as the entire team is stuck, and then that's pretty much a wrap. You have like so much way for BTK to go to even try to get out of this feathered airstrike.
Like they sold their items.
The story for the entire match is that once these guys were just setting up basically the same few things that there wasn't an answer for. Feathered airstrike coming down, nobody can close the distance onto
you just sell all of your items and then
big
just buy new
picks
items.
coming out, and honestly from the jump they had no answer from it. It seemed like a steamroll. I want BTK to come back strong in this next game. Give us a series.
Well, I mean, if anybody can, it's going to be BTK onto the game too. I know that the pressure is on for them right now. Ohio Brothers, I mean, this is their game to lose. They don't need to win this game. It's on BTK, or we're going to be closing out this series a little early. An amazing first game by them. We're going to see if there is an answer for that as we move into the second.
I think Ohio Brothers want to win the next game. Not only do they, I think a 2-0 sends a message to not only the rest of the tournament, but the community as a whole. We're the new top dogs, right? And man, with this first game, it feels like the Zane dream has been shattered a little bit. Oh no, you know? And we'll see how the rest of the series go. It's only one game. It's the first series of a very long tournament. But wow, the Ohio Brothers come out with a very strong performance. I kind of fanboying on the Lolita and the Farsa together. Wow, that was strong.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about here is that the chapters. This is a new year, new season here in North America, and some of the old names notwithstanding, we might be looking at a new top of the mountain here in North America, and a great synergy. This synergy from the team, the amount of times that these guys were able to kind of find these lane pickoffs was innumerable, and just the support there. If you're gonna try to take that Lolita away from Shark, you're letting something else go out there, and is that pick enough for you to worry about? We're gonna find out here when it comes to the second game and what BTK might be able to do here, because right now I want to say, like, there's a shift in North America right now, and with that last game it would be hard. I'd be hard pressed for people who are rooting for BTK right now, because that was a very dominating game for them and a very tough loss to be taken.
It is, I think, sometimes a tough loss to take for sure, but at the top level, I feel like games can get snowbally sometimes. Once you give a top level team that advantage, that amount of gold lead, those picks, they kind of steamroll the game. They're not going to make mistakes, and that's what really allows a team back in. So I think, you know, while it looked terrible, I still think these are the top two teams, and they're going to duke it out and give us a great series. Maybe BTK this time
my
takes
voice
the
is too
snowball,
low.
and
Can you guys not hear
doesn't
me?
make a mistake and can't give them. But what a clean
Here, let me
finish
turn my
from the
mic
Ohio
up.
Brothers. I have to give it to him again.
Is
Good
that better?
start,
Hello,
good
hello,
middle,
hello,
good end,
hello?
So clean throughout the entire thing.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I do. I have to admit that that's a great point there, is that when you get to the tippy top, it usually does come down to who made the first mistake, who got the advantage first, and then it's just a stranglehold all the way down, regardless of the strength of a team. We're going to go ahead and start these bands off again, basically looking around the same types of bands there. The Fanny and the Joy getting taken out here early. But like you said, are we going to have an answer? Probably the Farja or the Lolita, or are we going to go ahead and maybe do we have a different plan in mind for them? As you said, Masha, not exactly having the greatest effect on the field, really doing much there, and it did allow Yoreshi to rotate early to get that early advantage over them.
He got chunked out hard in lane, and you're right, that first rotation kind of set the tone for the rest of the game.
That's an amazing point there too, because the second round basically went to banning out T as well to make sure to see what he actually had left in store.
Is it loud though? Is it better now?
Just because I am more in favor of, like, his team fighting ability just isn't there, unless he's like absolutely fed, and you exchange winning lane for losing team fights in some instances when you have the Dairoth, and you're just gonna have to completely focus on that lane. I think they had a great plan in the early game, the rotations that they wanted, what they wanted to do to enforce their will, and I feel like unfortunately BTK was kind of leaning towards the mid and late game, but didn't really have a kind of cover there, especially for an Akai, who doesn't really have the damage in the early game that a Fredrin does, and especially not because he was getting refused his fourth level for about
Match stream volume is so high here. I'll turn it down.
Seconds there, past when you should have had it.
Yeah, Zane being put behind in the jungle. We're talking about earlier, people punishing that Zane's.
And they plays the Gali Wi-Fi.
I think it really was in display right there.
Is that better, guys? Let me know if that's better.
Usually drafts with no damage, and they only put damage in the marksman role, and just a total lack of damage if you're not making the picks to set up the marksman. It felt like Beatrix never really got in that game, and like, where was the Beatrix damage? It never really happened. So maybe BTK takes a little bit more damage in this game. I like the adaptation that they banned the Valentina here, and they're forcing the trade of who gets Farsa, and I think that's a really big pick. And then the next mid lane, whoever doesn't get Farsa has to go off the S tier, kind of down to the S- or the A tier.
Fanny,
well, not just Farja, but I feel like Faramis is being left open here too,
because
as you've taken out the Valentina,
why did they ban Akai?
Taken out the only other counter.
I don't feel like Akai was the issue.
And as we've seen in the last, and with the meta right now at the top, it does sometimes come down to who can get those the Estes, the Faramis, the Diggy out there. Right now, it could be anybody's game. We're still waiting to see that first pick here. See if we're gonna have some changes here. I don't know.
Nova Zay got the fat run.
BTK right now. Like, are you looking to change? Well, you're obviously looking to change something.
So then they get a win
right now. But you do go ahead and give MOBA Zane that comfort pick. You're giving him that Fredrin.
And just as you were talking about,
so they took Framers, so BTK doesn't take Framers.
Really quickly, Zane takes the bait of Fredrin, and I think they grab up Wanwan and Faramis and giving them so much power. Wanwan, it's incredible, even with the nerf, so strong and is banned out in most games for a reason. And then Faramis gets picked up, giving the rest of the team the Cold Altar and that ability to live a little bit longer and do a little bit more damage in team fights, not getting executions. But now T gets a Lapu, very comfortable pick for him, and Yato picks up the Farsa. This is a whole different game here, Private.
Definitely a whole different game, because now you're not going to have those fast rotations from the mid, but what you have is a good chunk of team fighting ability on the side of Ohio Brothers, who can basically, you're going to have to kill them twice as you run through that Cult Altar. A little bit of changes on the Cult Altar where everybody has to stay together. I'm not sure how that's going to come into play here, because
better now. Okay, thank you for letting me know. Appreciate it.
A lot of AoE damage. So even if that Cult Altar does activate, it's not going to take much from their side to be able to kill them again, whether it's with the Feathered Airstrike, with Lapu getting into that Bravest Fighter form, or the Appraiser's Wrath coming from Fredrin. That's just a lot of damage that can cover a lot of people stacked up.
You're right, the AoE is huge on the side of BTK, and this gives them a chance to really wombo combo. Farsa ulti with a little bit of Lapu. I think pretty much anybody's dead in the mid game, right? And I think BTK this time is drafted for a mid game spot. You have the Lapu, you have the Farsa rotation, and the Fredrin, who's really going to just walk around with swagger in your jungle or mine in the early game. No one can really kill him. I think late game, Wanwan has the opportunity to 1v5, and so I think it's
now like BTK drafts is a lot better. I like BTK draft here.
What will the Valley take into the gold lane to punish this Wanwan? Will it be the Brody? Could it be the Moskov? Something to get in there in the lane and win lane. I'm wondering how deep UniQB's pool is here.
Well, without haste, we do see Shark going ahead and snatching up that Lolita very quickly. I'm expecting possibly to see, are we going to take out Claude here? I know Claude is a favorite for a lot of people going against a Faramis, because that's another one of those heroes that can spread the damage to everybody with that blazing, or with that, with his ultimate. So, I mean, he can spread that across there. We do see Melissa getting taken out, as well as a Diggy. So very interesting bans here for the side of the Ohio Brothers, being finished up and rounded out by BTK, who take off Yuzong and Martis.
Interesting. You know, Lapu wins the lane against Yuzong, but Yuzong, we've seen him again, gets out of the lane. He doesn't really care for the lane phase. He wants the team fight. And those Black Dragons in the back line can hurt Farsa's ability so much. So a great ban out of him to take the YZ off the table. You know that your SU would play it if he had it. I think the Melissa ban is good for Wanwan, giving a little bit
I think they messed up the Kai ban.
Early game pressure relief.
I don't like the Kai ban.
I want to see BTK take something here and pin down basic into the gold.
You could see
a lot of rotation.
They put Theo in.
Went to the gold lane last game, and it was kind of a one.
Also, they're trying out. I see. They put Theo in instead of Joy Bosch. So Theo could go like Atlas here or something.
Is how are we going to be able to compete into the back line of BTK? What's going to be diving back there to kind of try to take out this Farja? I mean, you have Shark, who I feel like Shark has a great ability of being able to press forward on that Lolita with those Numenon blasts and then a flicker. Should probably be able to land those stuns onto the Farja there. Yureshi picking up the Hilda here. And I'm wondering how that matchup's going to go for T here on the Lapu.
Now Hilda will win the lane really hard, so Lapu's gonna look to get out of the lane just like a YZ would into the Lapu. Now Lapu's gonna be the one running out and trying to get to these team fights, because Hilda can just stand in that bush, and the lane's so boring. But man, Hilda smashes it really hard. So I'm looking for T to get out, and honestly, there's the Brody.
Kufra.
Yes, I wanted to see the Brody played into the wall.
Kufra's good
punish
here.
This lane
in a way,
get into the 1v1.
he needs to land his CC, because if he doesn't land his CC, he's in trouble. Because Wanwan just gets free ult. Like Wanwan could get free ult off Lapu, Kufra, or
interesting note here.
Fedrin.
Theo back on the board here with the Kufra picked up here. Side note there too, the Tyrant's Revenge from Kufra will be able to hopefully kind of either be used as its own setups, but even also to kind of counter that Numenon blast coming from Shark if he can get it out there in time. Ooh-wee, but we see on the side of the Ohio brothers picking up the assassin jungler Hayabusa. We were talking about who can get into the back line to try to catch the Farza, and best player picking up the Hayabusa. And the name of his game is basically diving into those back lines.
Yeah, and Haya's like a higher dry pick, right? You either get going from the
Picked
early game,
Haya.
or you kind of get relegated to be a split pusher. And into the fighter of Fredrin, we've seen that Hayas have trouble sometimes, but if they can get ahead, they have so much dominance in the game and mobility to go around the map and do what they want. Really interesting draft out of both. I think I would give late game to the side of Ohio brothers, and I think in the mid game, BTK has an advantage. Early game, I think a little bit of advantage out of Farsa, but man, if that Wanwan gets going in the late game, it's going to be trouble.
That's interesting because I actually have the opposite feeling there, is because I feel like the early game is Ohio's to lose. They need that early game to go well. Hilda from behind has problems.
Bro, that thing, what's up, Lucas?
Hilda,
Bro, that thing, like game 1, game 2, that's gonna give me freaking epilepsy, bro. Try to make me seize here. I'm getting old.
The early game, if Ohio can kind of get the advantage, I feel like this is gonna go over to, it's gonna stay with them. If BTK can somehow kind of run around here and kind of take that away from Ohio, then I feel like it's going to be BTK's game. But it's all going to be coming down here to the beginning, to the early parts of this match. It's going to be match 2 here. BTK looking to prove they still have what it takes to sit atop the mountain of North America.
That's right, and they've gotten a lot of the picks that they wanted in this matchup, but it's Ohio brothers are no slouch.
Walking in
Theo,
the
maybe
bush
a
again.
little bit of damage to his river.
Come on.
Yeah, it
Wait,
takes a bit
what?
of damage. It's
He's
expending that flicker already, only in the 57 seconds right now. They do not get this Litho Wanderer. Mobazane doing his best to take down.
He's playing, you could tell he's playing so
rotation
fast.
going up to the top lane
Like,
now.
And
he's
that's
not playing,
a priority out of him.
he's not playing
Ohio
like
brothers push
crucial.
off mid lane and they get their first
not
rotation.
being
They get
careful.
Lethal for free. Zane didn't even walk towards it. He's still on blue buff. He didn't have the same help. And I think that BTK needs to focus on getting that Farsa out of lane as soon as she has the skills and availability to rotate with the damage. Get her out of lane. Take to the next level.
Zay's just putting so much
Yeah, you
pressure.
should start trying to put some pressure onto Zane, and this has been a big thing
But
for
they need
Zane.
help
He's in a little bit of
Zane.
trouble.
Ooh.
Down comes the wrath. Down
Yeah,
goes
there's 3
a shot,
people
but
there.
Mobazane gets
They need help
picked up
Zane.
by the
Zane needs
jungler. I
help.
feel like for that 1-for-1 trade, it does favor Ohio brothers just a little bit more.
Right, it does.
Yeah,
You're right.
Ohio
Support
brothers
for
won that
jungler.
trade.
Jungler's off the map. He can't farm, and he's not getting gold per minute. But still,
They need to
3v1 for
punish like
Zane? Oh my
Shark, so
goodness.
Shark can't
How
walk
does
up
he
like
do it?
that. Like the tank and the mage should be there.
And still able to
At
bring
least the
down that
tank.
Appraiser's wrath. That's just the
If Zane had one more
great,
person there to
value
help
you
him,
get
then
out of
he
Fredrin,
would have been fine.
for all the damage that he can take. First turtle is up, and we are starting to vie for position. You see that Zane is kind of coming there. Yanareshi comes in there. Hoon with a little bit of damage as well. Yato, might be. No, he gets out. He's going to tell that story to his kids there. Shark coming in with the
We're gonna
Numenon
focus
blast.
turtle, yeah.
Now, beautiful Tyrant's revenge comes up there. This is going to be enough. Cold Altar down right now. More T in the fray of things as Theo's trying to get himself back to safety.
Fishing
That
it out.
is Theo, but stunned right now is T, who uses that flicker to try to get away. He is not long for this.
Bro,
world.
Zane needs
And the
help,
Feather
bro.
Airstrike
No one's
not
helping
able to
Zane.
do much, but zones
No
out
one's
the rest
helping
of
him,
Ohio
bro.
Brothers. 1 for 2 right now in favor of Ohio Brothers.
BTK takes another turtle when Yato.
They're not on the same page right now, you could tell.
Still take the fight anyway. Yato comes back. A
You
little late,
could
goes to
tell.
ulti out, but the damage is already done. The turtle's been taken and they're rotating out. And then T alone. Then T finds himself alone with 4 members of the Higher Brothers. He knows he's dead. Tries to flicker out and burns the flicker and still dies.
Yeah, you see a nice stun onto Hoon. Does pull back Yato on that Farza. Down at the bottom here, Theo trying to come in. That bouncing ball trying to cover for his marksman as we are still trying to vie for a position down here. Shark doing a great job of making sure that Theo in a little trouble can't capitalize on this. Here comes the Numenon blast, followed by Hoon trying to come in with that Shadow Stampede. He does not catch a target here, and it looks like BTK is here to kind of save the day and force the retreat from the Ohio Brothers.
An early kind of like stop to the pressure, and BTK follows the roam down and answers, right?
Look at
But
no
best player is
vision.
off to a really good start, 1-0 on this assassin.
Yeah, 2v3 here right now.
No
Yato gets taken out
vision.
quite quickly. That shadow kill comes out, and Mobazane powerless to protect his teammate. It is 1 for 3 right now in favor of Ohio as they set their sights at the bottom lane.
Farsa should be having a rotational advantage, but find yourself being pinned in the mid by this immense pressure coming out of Ohio Brothers, always pushing in mid, always getting for rotation on a Farsa. Farsa should be the first one there, and best player locks in the Hunter strike at before the 4-minute mark. This assassin's off to a run.
Yeah, and we've been talking about it before. A lot of people have been saying that there might be a little problem with the assassins. Theo in trouble. Numenal Blast coming down. Do we have the flicker? We do. Catches Theo, but we are not able to clean it up. Is the Ohio brothers. Yoreshi going to be finding himself back up to the top lane. Turtle is up right now. mlbb desperately needs to kind of get the momentum in his favor. 3v2 right now. Lord T comes in with that Ravens fighter. Here comes the feathered airstrike now as well. A little bit of trouble. Shark gets taken down.
Ooh, okay.
It's just a hair too late. And Hoon
Did it
trying
kill
to make
him?
his way to
No,
safety.
probably
He's going to
not.
use that Shadow Stampede to get away.
What a play. They 2v4 in the
Ooh.
Lord and still take away the
He's
turtle.
so
Best player gets
low.
a pick on the other side of the map.
Nice.
Chase down here, but it looks
Nice.
like great pressure coming out from BTK, answering this back. Honestly, I'm still amazed that Fredrin and Lapo just 2v4'd on the Lord. The turtle, take it, and then take a couple of kills. Big plays from BTK.
Yeah, you can see mlbb starting to go ahead and press his advantage into the Ohio brothers.
But they can't give
Yoreshi
mlbb
follows
his
to
best
stop him.
hero.
Down comes the Appraiser's Wrap. Not much damage really coming out of there as Lord T goes ahead, throws a little pokes there to the Yoreshi as well. We're going to go ahead, zone out Yoreshi here while mlbb takes on to this top tower. Great job by BTK and a little bit more formulated here than we saw from last game.
Absolutely more formulated. BTK seems to have a lot more comfortable. They have a lot more damage in their lineup as well. With the Lapo and the Fredrin, completely changes the mid-game skirmish, and they bring so much damage to these fights, and they're starting to outplay a bit.
Yeah, Unit in Trouble does use that Torn Apart Memories, but it's not going to be enough as basically able to get the kill on there. Numenal Blast coming down. Theo might not be long for this world. Down comes the shadow kill from Best Player. That is 3-6 right now, just narrowly over, not even a 1k gold lead right there. Zane comes in. Best Player taking down some damage from Yato. mlbb desperately trying to cling on to this orange buff right now. Doesn't want it to get taken away, so they're still vying for a position. Basically picks up a tower off screen as we are focused on the mid lane. Ooh, Shark
so
in a
much
little bit of
action.
trouble down.
Ooh, Shark lives with
Not
one.
gonna be enough. Does use
That's
that
so
conceal,
unfortunate.
and Zane in a little bit of trouble.
Help him, Yuna, help him.
Might see a crossbow
Nice.
attack come out. There it is, but Zane is super tanky.
You're coming in,
That's
though. You
not
gotta
gonna do
watch
much
out.
more than tickle him, but in comes Hoon with Best Player. They don't find the target just yet with that shadow, so they are going to go ahead and disengage.
What a pound for pound blow for blow. We have 9 kills in 6 minutes. We're starting up the third turtle here. It's going to be a big fight to secure pressure.
Yeah, it's only a 3v4 right now. We're still waiting for the rest of BTK to kind of get into position here right now. We are dancing around it. This is kind of what we do when we're trying to look for a fight. I feel like the Ohio brothers feel like they have the fight in their hands. They want the fight here. They want BTK to kind of come in for this. At the top, you see that Wan going to go ahead and start the split push. Do we have enough pressure here to start onto this turtle? Looks like TOB is kind of standing back. mlbb is a clean pickup for that turtle as a zone out from Theo backs up the rest of the Ohio brothers.
Very conscious decision and call throughout the comms of the Ohio brothers. Send one on top
The
of the
Ohio
turtle.
brothers.
For what reason, we don't know, but they really gave that turtle away. They had the 5v5 fight if they wanted it. They neglect to go and split push the lane, get Walmart a little bit more gold. Basic is 2-0 on Walmart. That's going to be so much damage in late game.
Theo goes in there, might have been baited out there. Numenal Blast comes out. mlbb is zoned out a little bit as well. No worse for wear is BTK. Great thinking by them. They do let down a Numenal Blast, so they're not going to have that for at least the next 40 seconds.
Now, Ohio brothers have a 2,000 gold lead. They're really allowed a lot of pressure. This mid lane inner turret, outer turret is down, and they have access to the jungle of mlbb, and that really frustrates Zane. He wants to farm, he wants to keep rotating and make smart paths, but now Ohio brothers are in his jungle for the rest of the game.
Yeah, Theo does miss a Tyrant's Revenge, and up at the top, you do see that Basic trying to put the damage onto this tower. They want to get this down, want to put that pressure down. Theo in a little bit of trouble there. Here comes the crossbow of Tang. Is it going to be able to take him down? It is not. Down comes the feathered airstrike, but followed closely up by that cold altar. Shark comes in with a bit of a stun of his own there, but we are at a 1-for-1 trade. Basic down.
Re-engage?
Numenal Blast of their own with a flicker. Catches BTK. Zone is taken down. Shark actually might not be long for this world. Has that bulwark up. Is he going to be able to get away? Hoon doing a great job of pulling mlbb, and he is in the wrong way in between 4 members of the Ohio brothers, desperately trying to get back out of the turtle. Yuna comes in for the damage. Appraiser's Wrath takes down a Shark, and a great in there. mlbb is still alive.
mlbb refusing to lose here into 4 people, turns around with the Appraiser's Wrath,
This game is a
takes
lot
the kill
closer
and gets away.
in the last
Big
game.
swing in the counter engage of Ohio brothers. These 2 teams are duking it out. Honestly, it couldn't be more of an entertaining match.
Yeah, and right now it is it's a Ohio Brothers game to lose right now. They are in the advantage. They are winning these team fights, and they are winning kind of the split pushing ability right now. We're still waiting to get this feathered airstrike to a point where the enemy is afraid of it, where the Ohio Brothers want to back up. But right now they are delegating what fights they want to take, what objectives they want here. As we start on the Lord, 5 members starting to come in here.
Nice. Ooh, nice kill on the high. Ooh, the Lord knock up. Oh no.
Not sure if he's going to be able to get out of this. Yureshi comes in there. Down goes Mo.
Can T kill?
That is 3 members of
and they have their full team there.
5 still up for the Ohio Brothers.
And T finds himself once again in the middle of a whole lot of Ohio Brothers waiting for another kill. What a clean Colt altar coming out from the Faramis to save their best player, secure the Lord, secure the team fight. What a swing. This is a huge moment for Ohio Brothers. Only 4K gold up, but look at the map state. They have a Lord barreling down. They're going to clean the outer ring of turrets with this play.
Yeah, not just that, but during that play, a great job by Shark to read out where Yuna was and threw up that shield, that bulwark, to block all the damage from Yuna. So during that team fight, he was not a factor. Lord coming down from the bottom. 4 members hiding out here. Zane actually might be in trouble. 4 members trying to come at him. He's able to dash away. They aren't able to find the damage, but they are able to find the tower. Zane does get away from that Numenon blast. The Ohio Brothers going to go ahead and distance themselves from here as they move on to another tower. But the top, you can see Lord at the bottom, push at the top. They are doing a great job, our Ohio Brothers, of putting the pressure on to BTK. Zane might be getting a little frustrated. He's trying to come in, try to put the damage onto Yureshi. He has clung, but we have 5 members onto Zane. He's looking to try to get out of here. Use that Praisers.
Zane doesn't get any help. No one's really helping.
Lord T is the next one. Yato might be in trouble. Basic just coming.
The women's OP too. She gets free heals. Like I said, women get free heals from last week. Zane and
one down for the
so they have to be careful. They have to be really careful when they go in, or they get punished for it.
For the side of BTK.
Relentless aggression here coming out of Ohio Brothers. Look at the itemization on their side as they have 6K gold advantage. Look at the build onto the Hayabusa. He has BOD, Malefic War, Hunter Strike. He's doing so much damage. And even though this team's grouped up, it feels like best player's still doing so much damage on the Hayabusa. 3-1 and 10. Basic gets taken down that team fight, but he really has so much damage in these team fights, cleaning out even a Frederick, even a Kufra. I think Theo has to find his legs in this game and make a good set for any hope for BTK.
Yeah, and right now the pressure is on BTK, only with inhibitors left. The entire jungle basically open, and we were talking about this before. Once that squeeze starts, Ohio Brothers are not likely the team to kind of make that mistake. Numenon Blast coming out here does not use the flicker. Best player comes in with a little bit of shadow, not able to find or secure any kind of target that he wanted, so he backs off. And right now we're just into the lanes. That's all we have right now is to kind of get these lane gold. Ohio doing a great job of refusing that jungle, the jungle gold.
Yeah, I struggle to see BTK coming back in this game because of what you said earlier. Ohio's not the team to make mistakes. BTK needs to force errors here, and I'm looking at Theo. I want Theo to come in with a big engage, Mobazane taunt, and really lay down and pick somebody before this next team fight starts up. The Ohio Brothers have the lane pressure. They're going to be splitting in. They're going to pick their fight when they want it. It's up to BTK to walk into this river, which is completely owned by Ohio right now.
Yeah, we do have a concealed play coming out. They want this fight. They do see that Tyrant's Wrath coming out from Theo. He is not.
Okay.
This world does catch a beautiful stun, but
no follow up.
A crossbow of 10 opens it up for the rest of the team. 2 down for BTK.
That's why Win-Win's so broken.
Joins the pack in the afterlife right now.
That's why Win-Win's so good, bro.
Zoning out as the rest of the team.
You really have to be careful when you go in on Win-Win. And you really like have to what's it called? Like punish Win-Win when you CC her that one time.
Zane is in trouble, gets taken out.
Yeah, GG.
Well, that is 2 people left for the side of BTK as this Lord gets taken up quite quickly by the Ohio Brothers. 4 members now pressing into the core. This might be it. Lord T desperately trying to come into the back line, does not find the damage. We are down to almost about a 10th down from basically.
Ooh, can they defend?
Theo alone in the
Maybe back in time, maybe?
for Yato. They do back up, but they have a Luminous Lord coming. That means it's on the top lane. They're going to have an immense amount of pressure coming down to this next inhibitor at the bottom as well. We continue on pressing our advantage. Yureshi coming in here to zone out the team of Yato and Theo. Are they going to be able to stop this? Here comes the Luminous Lord. We are trying to zone it out. Numenon Blast comes down. Yato gets out of there with the Cold Altar. Down to about half health. Is it a new chapter has started in North America as BTK gets taken out by the Ohio brothers.
Big game, big statement coming out of Ohio brothers to come into this game and not only win the game, but 2-0 in a very decided fashion. These weren't close games. These were blowouts. Now, this game was closer than the first one. But what a statement coming out from Ohio brothers to do BTK like that. They completely ran over the map both games.
Yeah, the tone has been set, the gauntlet has been laid, and the line has been drawn in the sand. At the top of the mountain right now are the Ohio brothers. Just an immense amount
it's too late for a
of
comeback.
teamwork, synergy, and in that drafting, being able to kind of push off a BTK.
Like, it's regular season, you bounce back from it, right? Like, you just work together.
We talk sometimes about close games and what happens when somebody gets the advantage with these top teams, but from sitting from these seats and viewing their Ohio brothers did such a great job of isolating Zane, making sure that the pressure was constantly on him.
Yeah, I have to give it to Ohio brothers.
He
about punishing Zane.
Tanks really need
focus on.
I think tank and mage, mage and jungle really need to work together. It's kind of like a triangle. Like them three really have to work together to have control of the map.
But Ohio brothers put so much pressure on the mid and lock them in, and then walk into Zane's jungle like it's theirs. What a great game plan coming out from Ohio brothers, and like you said, setting the tone for the whole series. Man, a lot of people voted BTK to win this, and they were wrong.
Yeah, myself included there, and that just, like I said, sets the tone. Sets the tone for the rest of these matches here. This is going to be the only time that these two meet, but basically has changed the landscape for North America right now. Ohio brothers are going to be that team to beat. They're going to be that team that you need to worry about. They have shown the camaraderie and the synergy that they have, and it's not just a team thrown together. These guys have been playing together for a while.
Yeah, and I wanted to see maybe Shark on something else, right? But BTK gives him Lolita twice. That's like one of his most playmaking heroes. See, they play different on it, but Prime, you got to replay.
Yeah, and this is kind of the problem here, trying to toward the end there. You see Theo. This was a beautiful play. Theo comes in there. Now watch Shark when Yuna tries to come in here from the side. Shark, as soon as he does get popped up, he's going to come in here and block Yuna from putting on the damage to the rest of the team. And this is just the know-how from Shark to be able to block the main damage dealer after Yato. This is just such an amazing play and basically set the tone. And that is why Shark is so dangerous, especially when the rest of your team just has such a great advantage.
Yeah, he looks so clean on Shark, on Lolita, and honestly, just an expert master of the hero, laying down the Numinous Blast of the team fight and then blocking all the marksman's damage. What a well-played tank. And we know Shark to be that #1 tank, right? He's so good at his classic picks. Want to see him on something else.
What an impressive game coming from Ohio brothers. It seems like the Ohio brothers today do not have the Ohio connection, or is the Ohio connection that makes them so strong. Every game, every play set by Shark was followed up immediately by Hoon and best player with that immense damage, and maybe Zane's team just needed a little bit of that connection.
Nah, Zane's not gonna quit.
Every incredible game has an
I don't think
incredible
so.
player, and today we have the MVP.
It's only the first game. They're still in it. It's not over, guys.
Hoon. Now, Hoon with
It's a learning lesson.
engages every
It's regular
game,
season.
putting so much pressure on that map, right, guys?
Yeah, and this is what we were saying before. As Hoon this has been the eternal struggle between the two, like I want to say, like highlight players, being it Zane or Hoon, and Hoon especially in that first game. The amount of quick rotating ability.
He's not gonna quit.
As soon as he
There's no way.
down,
He said he's gonna quit if he doesn't do well in NACT.
Right back to the mid lane. It was just
No way.
The maximum amount of like it's textbook for what you need to be doing for as a Farja player. He checked all the boxes for that.
Yeah, and that Farsa pick was huge for him. I totally agree. And if Hoon didn't take the MVP, I mean, he deserved it, don't get me wrong. Shark's a close second, right? Though those two together, I think, really spelled doom for the side of BTK and really owned the river. And that allowed them to Zane, who was walking into his jungle, they just pick him or they'd agitate him and they'd get in those fights.
For sure, guys, and it really shows that this game is all about team synergy. At this level, all the players are incredible, so it really comes down to which team pulls it together the best. But right now, match 1 is done, and coming back from the break, we will have Ackerman versus our crowd favorite Team GOSU, and will GOSU come make an epic comeback? We will find out after the short break snack, and we will see you back soon.
Yeah, GOSU versus. I'll change the name. GOSU versus Ackerman next. Here, hold on, guys. Place your bets. How do I close this poll? Start a new poll. You had to wait 30 minutes? What? $30 guys? What the hell? You gotta wait 20 minutes. No, I think Ackerman's gonna win, to be honest. I think Ackerman's gonna 2-0 GOSU. Alright guys, I'll be back in like 20 minutes. Hang on tight because we're going to have another exciting game. You like Ackerman? Honestly, I think they're gonna win. My vote is on Ackerman. I don't know about you guys. You guys are just fanning girl and GOSU. GOSU's not the same. Guys, GOSU's not the same as they were before. GOSU's not the same team. They don't have General. General's not even competing, bro. But I actually had to wait 20 minutes. Can they start sooner? You have Zero? Yeah, but Zero's benched. Zero's not even playing. Zero got benched. Is General playing? Nah, he's not playing. General's not gonna play. Zero's not gonna play. Wow, a lot of people really did pick GOSU to win. Excuse me. UFC, this is UFC, this is NACT. Griefer. You got the wrong game. 9 more minutes. Let's go, baby. 9 more minutes. Yay! Sounds like medieval music. The Game of Thrones music. Five more minutes, let's go. NACT! minutes. Bro, this needs to start soon. Huh? What is this music? Guys, what is this music? You guys know this music? Okay, let's go. GOSU versus Ackerman.
Welcome back, guys, to the North America Challenger Tournament. I am your host, Liz. We've had an unexpected but still thrilling first match. But now let's take a look at the schedule for today.
Yeah, you can see up there at the top, we've already had an amazing match between the Ohio brothers taking the lead over the Bloodthirsty Kings 2-0, but yet to come up next here, going to be Ackerman taking on
I'm going for Ackerman here, guys. I think Ackerman's going to win this, TBH.
Big teams fought and big teams are coming. We'll finish off the night with Lami Top, Wages, and the Area 77 Empire. Big next game, though, Ackerman versus GOSU.
And I know you guys have had your hopes up for BTK in the first round. So for this game between Ackerman and GOSU, what do you guys think? What are your predictions for the upcoming match?
An intense matchup here too, and as a caster, like there's a storyline to be told here as well. General stepping aside now to kind of let GOSU out of the nest to see if it flies or falls, and that's going to be the big question here. You can see down there, split right down the middle between all the casters in favor of GOSU or
I'm going for Ackerman here.
Yeah, General stepping down, and one of two female players coming in, Nicolette, going to be playing in the mage position. So she's been through a lot of teams throughout the scene for a long time now. We've planned this matchup. It's good to see that we have a split desk though on who's going to win this, huh?
And it's also good to have some diversity in the teams. We've never seen as many female players in the game, and now we have actually a couple of games with girls players in it.
Yeah, an amazing thing for both of them as well. A big thing right now is not just Nicolette, but we also have Azia on the team there of notoriety from the original BTK. They're going to be taking up the marksman position for Ackerman as well. And then on GOSU's side, I mean, the squad has always been strong. Maybe not tip top of the pinnacle of North America, but that's what they're looking to change here tonight. And will they cement themselves here back again, stronger than ever, or will Ackerman, is it time for new blood in the Ackerman?
Now we will find out as we go into week 1, day 1 game between Ackerman and team GOSU. Take it away, casters, to the draft phase.
So this has been the interesting thing for me when it comes to GOSUman. I combined both the teams there. GOSU and Ackerman. A big thing about GOSU, and I think we were talking about it a little bit offline, is GOSU has some picks that
let's go.
Super strong with that they are able to dominate with, but outside of those picks, sometimes there is a little bit of a falter. On the other side, we have Ackerman, a lot of people out there, Kush, Nicolette, TopNACT, Galaxy, Zia, a lot of strong players in North America just have kind of been orphans a lot, whether it's on different teams and never really kind of sticking together for too long. And this is going to be Nicolette's first time away from best player to see if she has the synergy with Ackerman here.
All these players have been around the scene for a long time on the side of Ackerman, and it's good to see them all cement themselves and maybe find a home for themselves to play for a long time together and build that synergy up that's needed. We saw the Ohio brothers there; they knew they were going to be right. Let's hope that the Ackerman can bring that same level. The same thing from the GOSU squad. Is there a little bit of a new squad general stepping off? A lot of new players on both squads. We'll see what this matchup holds for both and what it'll mean this season fest.
Yeah, and that's the interesting thing is, for me personally, I feel like if General has taken a step outside of the team to just be there on the sidelines, the more involvement he has there, I think, can only spell great things for GOSU, because you still have that experience pouring into the team. You're just kind of giving way to newer blood and possibly people that have more synergy. And from what we've heard, they are taking it very seriously as well to make sure that all of their players are ready, are willing to give it in for these teams. So it's not just a team for namesake. These guys are definitely holding their practices, taking this seriously, and making sure that everybody is putting in 100%.
I mean, we're not talking about BTK Ohio brothers, but these are still very top teams of the entire tournament here, and they're facing off against, this is like early season. You want, just like the Ohio brothers, to come out and make a statement. You want to feel strong, you want to feel good, you want to get those picks that mean a lot to you. For GOSU, it's super important that they get their comforts. For Ackerman, though, I feel like they're a little bit more flexible and can go a lot of different ways into the GOSU draft.
Yeah, and that's one of going to be the interesting things here. Kush going to be taking on Anna in that jungler position. Nicolette and Midnight in that mid lane. TopNACT and Milo for the roam position. Galaxy and Uzi for the XP. And finally, as we were talking about before, Zia and Guapsi for that marksman position. To see, and it's very interesting to me because honestly, right now, I feel like Nicolette, for me, is one of the premier mages in North America. That's the only one out of this team that I feel like has a significant advantage on paper over these, and the rest of them can kind of go either way, especially when you consider team synergy in there, which we just saw from the last matchup. Synergy goes a long way when it comes to the rotation, when it comes to these picks kind of melding into one another.
Synergy is important.
It's really big, and Nicolette, I think, will be a little bit of the team lead, a little bit in the comms, directing the team out of the mid is a really good push and a shot call as he's going to rotate over. We know Nicolette. I first met Nicolette and casted a game when she was on Farsa, and wow, she really dominates the game on Farsa, but she has a lot of other picks. The Lilia, there's Lu Yi, there's a couple of pocket picks that she has that can really provide a lot of early game pressure, and that's how she likes to play. Early game pressure to the mid, rotate, and spread your influence throughout the map. I think it's really important for GOSU to pin her down, not let her get on a comfort pick, or Nicolette's going to be exactly where she wants to be. You need to create some uncomfortability for your enemy.
Yeah, and that's kind of the name of the game here is kind of creating that advantage, sticking with that advantage and not making the mistakes and giving your opponents any room to breathe on there. As we go ahead, heading into the ban rates, I mean, not too much here as a surprise in the draft. I do see, we have Natalia taken out on the board, as well as a Wan very early.
Yeah, and Natalia may be a pocket ban into someone they know has a really strong Natalia. Maybe something out of the scrims coming there.
Weird ban
Natalia's
so
not
far.
generally something we see in the top bans, but I think it's more of a targeted ban to the side of GOSU. I love them starting off with Lapu Fredrin. Such an early game power spike, mid game team fight, that first turtle, second turtle, domination. Faramis for Nicolette seems to be very comfortable and can provide a lot of access throughout the lane. She can rotate very quickly as well. Not the Farsa level rotation, but still has a quick rotate.
Interesting to me because we went with this, and I'm wondering, are we going to be looking at picking up the Valentina here too? Maybe have that Faramis on the roam position, and then the Valentina taking away the counter that you could possibly have in the Cult Altar for the side of GOSU. We do pick up a Brody, so we're not going to, well, I guess we're going to have to wait for that second pick on the side of Ackerman there. But we do have the Brody, which is kind of throwing down the gauntlet. A lot of damage from Brody, especially in the early to mid game. We've talked about it before. He falls off if you get late game, especially for teams that can burst you down very quickly. So, I mean, while he will have the advantage in the early game, we're going to see what we can kind of stack against him to kind of maybe withstand that from the side of GOSU.
I think Brody's a fine pick early. I think it does fall off, like you were talking about, to late game attack speed marksmen like the 1-1, the Melissa, those things that Moscow provides so much damage. But Brody has a really strong lane phase, and he can punish a lot of other heroes in that phase. Interesting to see. It looks like he will be locked in, and we've gone past the 0 mark on pick phase. There hasn't been a lock, so I'm curious to see what's going on there. Boys might have had a little hiccup.
Hopefully more than just a tag team exercise here. Still waiting for a lot of them to kind of come through here with the picks. I mean, we have picked up a good thing about the Faramis pick is it is kind of flexible in that you don't know if it's going to be a mage, you don't know if it's going to be a roam position there. However, if it is going to be the mage there, the one thing you do have to watch out for is that the rest of your team has the damage. If you're looking at like kind of like a duo support, we've seen it before where you get like 2 roams on one position or on one team, either the Faramis with an Estus or the Faramis with another tank or something like that, and you kind of lack the damage to be either able to get those ganks in the early game or to kind of finish the job in the late game. It does give you a lot of that healing, a lot of that staying power in fights, but that's not all it takes to win these team engagements.
Yeah, we've highlighted the kind of the late game fall off and the possibility for Faramis to not get going. I think, like you said, the Valentina is a great pick into it, right? You can steal that Cold Altar for yourself. There's 2 now, and you have a little bit of more lane presence over the mid lane. I think what would be really cool from Promise here, actually, I know he has a really good Esme. He played it in last year's NACT Cup where they lost to BTK to go to M4, but Promise has a really good Esme, and Esme plays really well into Lapu right now because he can't expend his bravery stacks in an attack. He has to get the shield. So Esme kind of got a little buff against Lapu. I think it's an option for him, but Esme is not like that S tier. You still have the YZ, you still have the glue available. Things can go really good because they have the Faramis, no glue counter.
Yeah, what we saw from the last time too is maybe are we going to be looking at another thicker jungler role coming from the side of Ackerman, since we're kind of going into a Fredrin. We don't really know. Well, it is on Anna, so I'm going to assume that is going to be going in the jungler role. Are we going to be looking for an assassin on the side of Ackerman? As we do know, Kush
Diggy. A lot of people have been liking Diggy.
A great Fannies, which has already been taken off the board, I believe. We're coming here at the butt end of the second banning phase.
Bro, their sustain is crazy.
So it is going to be an assassin.
Like sustain, Estes, and Framus?
Kind of,
wait.
Actually.
Brett?
Maybe not.
That's gonna be a tank, what's it called? Tank
Could be
Karina,
the
though.
tank, though. Could be the tank. It doesn't
Yeah,
have to be the
tank
assassin
Karina.
route for the Karina, but we saw a lot of things picked up that we talked about. The Valentina picked up for the Colt Archer Fairman still. The YZ into the Lapu lane. Doesn't really enjoy lane phase, but loves to break apart in the team fight. Estes to kind of glue this all together. And the Fairmus and the Estes together, where they don't provide a lot of damage, they provide such survivability and utility for the team.
Interesting fact here too. We do have that Midnights on that Valentina, which is what I was talking about. That's kind of what you want when you're facing a Faramis there as well. So you have two cult altars basically kind of canceling each other out. However, the story here is going to come with after that cult altar with that Estes. Are you going to be able, while you're going to be able to have that sustain, are you going to have the damage to take down GOSU on their side? As it gets later and later into the game, I feel like this is going to go over into the side of GOSU. We're just going to see how this early game plays out.
Starting in game 1 here.
I told you no zero.
What a matchup. I feel like there's points.
I said no zero. Zero's bench.
I think they can both play early game and late game. I mean, Carry's probably going to outscore
on the bench.
Brody, but Brody can punish in lane. Lapu's going to win the YZ matchup, but YZ doesn't want to fight in the lane. So a lot of movement around the map we should be expecting. And whichever team can navigate the map and rotate better should win this game.
Yeah, and that's going to be the story of this matchup. GOSU taking on Ackerman here. A lot of these picks, it's interesting too, because especially against the matchups that they have, they succeed in one point and kind of fail in another one. And we're going to see if they can. It's basically, can we succeed harder?
No GOSU general either.
Than the other team? Can we
no
succeed
GOSU
harder
general.
than we are failing here? But we're going to start here. Game 1, Ackerman taking on GOSU.
Big chance for both of these teams to stamp their name and say, hey, we're up there with the Higher Brothers, with the BTKs. Maybe we can fight for the number 2 spot in this. And I think it's a big time for both of these to start strong, right? You don't have problems early in the season. You have a long season to grow. Start off on a good foot.
Yeah, and that's going to be the amazing part here. We already see a decent amount of babysitting happening here from Toyn X, I guess what we're gonna call him, down at the bottom, trying to make sure that his marksman is getting fed and has the support he needs to kind of feel comfortable in that lane.
Yeah, they're giving Nicolette a lot of pressure in the mid lane, pushing this Valentina, and Nicolette instantly moves off the map.
What's that Diggy doing there?
Even though she doesn't go anywhere, she's
Diggy
providing
AFK?
scare. Oh, Melo, like
Milo,
talking,
yeah, might actually be a little
Diggy
bit of a
AFK?
Wi-Fi issue unless he.
Oh no.
Yeah, unfortunately, did not call out that pause fast enough, Milo. Unless he had a death wish there.
Melodic?
For that suicide note.
Melody
from
AFK?
that Diggy, unfortunately. Like I said, we're going to go into a pause, make sure that everything is on the up and up for both of these guys. We do want to make sure that everything is fair for everyone, but already a kill for the side of Ackerman.
Zia marksman? Yeah, Zia's gonna focus on
Zia
marksman.
waits no time for him to type in P. Takes that kill instantly. Give me that. We're in the NACT, baby. I need all the kills I can get. One kill early on Brody. That starts him off to a big run. And we'll have to see if there's any issues with the technology here. But let's say the game goes and progresses as is. Brody, with one kill starting off, is going to provide even more pressure into that carry in the lane. And Brody has that early to mid game spike. Carry's going to need some help in that lane. And she was getting babysit, but that didn't go too well.
Yeah, and doing a great job is their roam, especially on the Ackerman side too, because they're not just babysitting down in the marksman lane, they're also rotating to mid and doing a great job of kind of staying in between there, continuing the pressure for both lanes and not just one, so that they aren't really failing in one just to cover another lane. It's be interesting to see how this progresses. We've talked about it before. Brody can do very well, especially getting fed. I feel like GOSU, especially on that carry, are looking for the super late game, but we've seen it before. Late game is nothing if you can't make it if you can't make it to that point, if you can't pave a path for your team to get there.
And the story starts there. Can Ackerman snowball the game until they can be in the
Bro,
push out
GG's.
GOSU, they never get out of the game, or can
GG's to which
hold
team?
on long enough to get those positions to where that carry can turn and just do all the damage in the world. I really like how Ackerman's playing early, playing through the mid lane, putting pressure there so the Faramis can roam and locking Valentina in lane. I think Faramis has a quicker rotation and can get out, but I just like the way they're playing, pushing in mid lane, then roaming, pushing in mid lane, then roaming, getting out of those lanes and moving around the map, assisting the team, taking your pressure and pushing it somewhere else, and then going back and resetting and doing it again. I love that play at Ackerman early.
Yeah, it's almost like both of these teams kind of have the same game plan.
Who played I
It's
Rise?
just these game plans
BTK
take
just
effect
played
at
the
different
Ohio Brothers.
points
The
in
Ohio Brothers
matchup.
won 2-0.
Whereas you have the Faramis and
So now it's
the,
GOSU versus
Estes to
Ackerman.
kind of keep your team topped up. They're going to have these great fights as we move into like that early to mid game level. And then on the other side, you have Valentina, who can get a Cult Altar of their own. Diggy, who has that time journey, can give you a lot of shield and that consistency that you need. And then even then, you might not even need the Cult Altar. Maybe you go for the Blessing of the Moon Goddess, steal that ultimate from Estes, so now you have healing for the whole team, and you don't have to worry about that Cult Altar resetting and basically petrifying your whole team as they.
I was trolling with
Now you have
Melissa.
healing,
Liz, you troll.
with a Diggy's time journey and a lot of shielding to kind of push you into in through these fights. So it's gonna be interesting to see how these two different compositions clash into each other. Like I said, they kind of have the same plan. They're just gonna take off at different points.
You're so right to paint this team fight so many different strokes, right? And they have so many options of how they want to fight it, utilizing the Valentina ult still to steal anybody's and play the fight a little bit different. But packing back into live, it looks like Melo maybe taking another one private. No!
Yeah, that's the unfortunate part of it. Diggy, who does use that flicker to get out of the way. Guapsi gonna go ahead and cover the escape as in comes Anna to just go a little bit of show of force there down at the bottom lane.
Ooh, I'm glad Diggy got again. Giving over another kill early to Brody would be problematic. It would be a little less gold. Every time you die, you lose a little bit of gold on that bounty, but every time you get an assist, it brings it right back, right? So it's good for Melo to get out. He does expend the flicker, but it's so much better than letting Brody get another kill.
Yeah, we do see starting about 4 seconds left for this turtle coming up on the board. We're going to start seeing if we can set up for this. At the top, you do see Nicolette on that Faramis doing as good a job. Interesting that we have both mages kind of up there setting up
You need
for
to watch
this.
his matches
Promise is
anyways.
going to go ahead
Maybe
and
rewind
with this
back.
turtle and reset it. GOSU doing a great job trying to create presence around the map and go ahead and put some damage on the Nicolette. She tries to come in with that Shadow Stampede. Midnight actually getting latched onto. Cult Altar activated a little early. Is this going to be a problem for GOSU? I feel like that might have been a little too early. Uzi comes in with the bravest fighter. Nicolette gets taken down. Anna with the finishing blows on that.
No,
Uzi comes
that's
in on
not
the points,
good.
takes it down from that Faramis, and Promise takes down Anna.
Apple
This
needs
is
to
a
hold.
great fight for GOSU. Only one person taken out and 3 for the side of Ackerman. This turtle is reset.
What a stomp, honestly, from the side of GOSU there, running the game down. I did not expect them to win that so conventionally when I saw Nicolette make the first initiation. Even with that early Cold Altar, we could see the team fight pressure that Lapu brings when he gets in the middle of everybody, just so much damage, and everybody was stacked up and took all of it from him.
Yeah, we are starting on this turtle. Milo, we do have a 4v3. Kush trying to come in here. Here comes another bravest fighter. Time reverse does catch. Promise able to pick up the turtles. That's going to be a great amount of shielding for Ackerman. Kush coming in with some damage. They are going to be
At least
able
they
to
got objective,
disengage.
but that was messy,
Great
though.
pickup for the side of
Let's see from both sides of the teams.
Yeah, it's the back and forth blows. You'd love to see that. Now, it was about 1,000 goldie. Now it's about 200, 300, right? It's a great move to resubmit themselves back in it. It's going to be a close game coming out of this early game. I think Promise, last time we saw him in the last NACT finals, he really wanted to win it. You could see it on his face. He's come back with a full squad this time.
Actually doing a great job of kind of enforcing his will in that lane against Lapu, who I would imagine, Zia with the beautiful torn apart memories, does unfortunately catch Milo there, and another death on Diggy there. That is 3 to 4 and 2 kills for Zia right now.
What a gold lane you have there, Zia. 2-0 starting off on the Brody and hasn't even really stepped into a spike. This carry is going to need even more help, and if it's matched by this Estes 2v2, this Brody has such an advantage.
Beautiful Fear does cuts onto Nicolette. They're trying to pop it up and do get the kill onto them. GOSU doing a great job with some of these mid rotations, making sure that they don't really have that pressure, which is going to extend to the pressure that Ackerman can actually mount into these side lanes. Anna coming in around the side here, trying to put the damage. Here comes Zia putting on the damage. Some healing coming down onto Anna now. Cold Altar has been expending, but here comes Kush. They want to put enough damage, not enough onto Anna just yet. Cold Altar of their own. Zia able to get the kill. That is 3 for Zia right now as well. Uzi trying to get out of the way here. Midnight's trying to run, does put on that damage, and another pause has been called.
Yeah, the way the Fredrin just kind of stood there for a really long time, it felt like a little bit of a disconnect issue. I was like, man, there's no way they have that much CC, right? And so another pause coming out. Fredrin does take another death here, but a little bit of maybe lag issues coming out for the side, but it has to be played through, right? If you're playing on Central Server, it's the only way we can get them into the same amount ping, the fairest thing possible. So we're going to pause and check out to make sure it's the highest level of integrity we can provide these two teams.
Yeah, right now the story starting to aim into Zia. 3 kills right now on that as we're starting to kind of cross over into that point where he's going to start being a menace come to these team fights. The only problem is how long is he going to be or how long can he maintain that? Because I feel like a lot of these fights are kind of going over into the side of GOSU, but along the way you start getting a couple of these little pokes, and then Zia gets a kill. Another big fight kind of taken by GOSU, and then a couple more pokes, and Zia gets another kill. So I mean, are we gonna have Zia kind of coming in here and cleaning up, or is GOSU gonna kind of still maintain that team fight superiority?
I feel like GOSU definitely is team fighting better, like you said, and I think a couple of, like, honestly, rare and wouldn't be thought of kind of caught out of position from Nicolette. She's been caught twice now, and usually you'd never see that, right? So maybe it's the Faramis not on Mirror the Farsa, comfortability on the mages, but overestimating what that Faramis will do and how the trouble he can get out of because the Fredrin's been caught now. And I think Zia has just been the benefactor of some lag or something, people walk into his lane and disconnect right in front of him, like, here's a kill, buddy, and he is soaking it up. 3-0 is a problem for carry. We always talk about it, right? This late game versus a snowball comp. Can the late game team pull it out till they get there? When the snowball comp gets 3 kills on the marksman, it really paints a lot of trouble for that gold lane.
It's kind of funny because Zia is basically he's honing in. It's like he could smell a Wi-Fi issue from down the map. As soon as somebody pauses it out, Zia's like, yum. I mean, and I don't blame him here, especially at this time. You gotta take the if there's an opportunity there, take it. Your team. If I'm lagging, I expect my team to be right there. Be like, call out those P's right away. Let them come out there. Make sure that they know. But on the subject of Nicolette here kind of getting caught out, she does kind of favor, we've talked about it before, she favors those artillery type mages where she can kind of get a good position in the background and start just raining down damage, whether it's like a Farja, whether it's a Cecilian or something like that, a Eve. She does like those artillery type mages, and it might not be the best play style for her on this Faramis, somebody who needs to kind of stay in the fight, stay in the mix to make sure that you're ready with that Cult Altar, or even to kind of advance forward with that Shadow Stampede to latch onto heroes and pull them back.
I've never really thought Faramis was like an early game killer though, so I'm waiting to see in the draft purpose of the draft why they would take the Estus and the Faramis together, because once they get together, team fights are going to get really hard for GOSU, because they'll be talking in the comms like, oh no, Estus still has his ultimate, we can heal him up, you don't use the Cold Altar yet, or the Cold Altar can then give the opportunity for Estus to heal everyone back up to full, and now you're fighting a full team again. There's just so many possibilities when both of these really strong utility ultimates get played together. So I think the team fight for them, once Ackerman can get them going, is going to be huge.
Well, we were talking about it before. The only real weakness of that type of strategy is if you don't have the damage to kind of compensate for it. You can last in the fight. You have the Cult Altar. You have the Blessing of the Moon Goddess healing all your players. But do you have the damage? Right now, that answer is yes. Zia's starting to get full. Zia's starting to get. He's actually probably pretty soon going to be moving himself away from the table with a full belly on that Brody and start dishing out some damage. So it's going to be on them if they can start slowing that down, because that's going to be what you just talked about. That's going to be the main issue is them surviving that fight while in the background.
Shut the subtitles were yours.
Out damage.
That's probably
and then kind of capitalizing with that torn apart memories that can basically clear out the entire team if it needed to.
I always have
Yeah,
subtitles
I
on.
wonder what Brody's going to be able to do. Into the Diggy. I don't see the Diggy being a huge threat, but it will give them a little bit of mobility and shielding to get away from the Brody, maybe. But then the Torn Apart Memories can still follow. So I really like the team fight for Brody because he can kind of sit there and do the damage while the Estus and the Feramis buy him time to do the DPS. I don't see the same, except for Fred's, the same zoning abilities from the side of GOSU to give the carry time to work. And I think if carry doesn't get a lot of help and get out of this landing phase soon, Brody's been given 600 gold and kills, right? That's manifested itself even more gold, but having pressure in the lane and pushing some minions in, and maybe carry wasn't able to last hit or something like that. So it's really starting to balloon for Brody. I would say Brody might be close to 1,000 gold ahead of his counterpart here. And that needs to be handled in some way. The Lapu can do it, can dive and get to the Brody and stop him, but then gets evaporated by all this utility. So really interesting team fights coming out here. I can't wait to see the full 5v5 clash.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about a Fredrin on the other team there. I mean, you have a Fredrin, and like we were talking about it, as you move later and later into this game, I think right now, GOSU, these next few fights are going to kind of tell how this game's going to kind of unwind. Do we shut down Zia and we kind of continue with these team fighting capabilities of GOSU? Or if it starts getting into the side of Ackerman, I think GOSU's going to have, if Ackerman starts getting the advantage in these next few minutes, GOSU's going to have to hang back. If GOSU can kind of continue the domination, they can try to push and close it.
Why is English too hard?
Over this hill,
English is a hard
part
language. I struggle with English.
That's when Ackerman starts shining and is going to come in on this game, and that means that GOSU's going to have to wait until
What's going on? Why is it
late game when you have Fredrin who's super tanky, and then you have that carry in the background who can just shred you. So it's just different winning points for these both teams, and how they're going to accomplish it with these compositions.
We've really been given a treat in this second series, but a little bit of news for the viewers. We've had to restart the game. Now, the picks are all going to be the same, but they are going to start over and play this game. A lot of lag issues came through it, so it's going to be the same picks.
What, they're going to start over the whole entire game?
We have that ready for you, put it up on the screen. But this is, again, it's like a double dip of the treat because we're going to have these really interesting team fights scratching together. And while we talked about one may have the late game advantage of the other, this is a really exciting 5v5 match regardless.
It's honestly a second chance for both of these teams. Some little mistakes kind of came out there at the beginning. Some people got caught. We were talking about Nicolette getting caught a few times there. We're gonna be able to do this over. Do we start differently? Do we maybe play a little bit more passively? Do we maybe exert a little bit more pressure onto Brody to make sure that Zia's not getting fed? We're gonna find out when we start this over. But yeah, I mean, like we said,
but why they restarting the
gotta
whole
keep things
game?
fair. Gotta make sure that everything is on a level playing field. Some people having some lag issues in there, and they're gonna go ahead and just restart the map to make sure that both teams are on an even playing field here. But yeah, it's gonna be it's already looking like it's gonna be a great match. We were talking about it before. GOSU and Ackerman, basically two teams looking to establish themselves. They're not second tier. They want to establish themselves right up there with the Ohio Brothers and BTK.
Yeah, and I feel like it's a little bit of a gap between BTK and Ohio Brothers at the top and all the other teams saying, wait, we can beat them, we can take it to them. But as the community knows it, you see those name brands at the top and you assume and associate them at the top of the bracket. And we're going to have some other teams come through here and battle out for that spot. So these teams have so much to gain in here. And I mean, you can go to MSC, you can go to N5. There's a lot of opportunities for the scene as well, as the scene kind of goes from the grassroots movements of the early solo tournaments to like this big thing we have here now. And these two teams are like staples, right? The players on Ackerman have been around the scene for a very long time. But GOSU, a name brand, household name for mlbb in North America, they have a lot of new players building a new squad fresh from the start. So honestly, both these are such a good look for the community as a whole, and it shows you, hey man, if you're grinding a rank and you want to get serious, hey, ask one of the boys.
Yeah, and that's the great thing too that we haven't really kind of touched on too, is one of these teams going to be going to MSC. So there's just that added bit of notoriety attached to a win here in this NACT. You're going to be going to a national stage, not quite the M series, but still a national stage for you to get more of that experience. And not just that, but in the format, the double round robin that we have here means that every single team is going to be facing each other at least twice. which is great for them because that means that not only do they face one, whether they take the win or whether they take the loss, but you have the opportunity to learn from that. And you have these 8 weeks of just grinding against some of the top in North America, which means you can only get better from here. And that's been something that I feel like North America has been lacking, and finally it is here. And all of these teams taking it personally, taking it seriously, wanting to make sure that they're going to be up there. And that's what we said with a lot of these changes, especially some of the bigger changes coming here into GOSU with the loss of General, and then with Ackerman, with a lot of these people kind of joining there, with Nicolette and Kush kind of joining the ranks of there with Zia.
And we'll see 4 of these teams, or at least 2 of them, in the finals at Vegas. And I was at Vegas last time. It was a blast. So if any of you guys can be out there, go to it. It was so much fun. It was a really communal event to meet all these people you see on the internet for years, right? And then put a face to a name and enjoy time with them. It was such a cool experience. And we'll have that again, and then we'll have it again and again as the scene grows as a whole. And you'll see some of these teams there as well at the top peak of the competition. I think it's such a pleasure to watch these games, and I feel like I learned so much watching these players and just seeing the competitiveness of them and how they fight, how they navigate team fights. Such a pleasure, really.
Yeah, an absolute blast there. Out there, like we said, it's already been announced. We're going to be heading back to Vegas. Sin City, is it the city that never sleeps? I'm pretty sure.
I think that's New York.
But is that never? Oh no, one of those cities of gambling and with the esports team there. I'm really excited about it too. We still have not released what the venue is going to be. I know a lot of people probably have their guesses as where it's going to be, are trying to find out, but it's going to be an amazing event, and just like the last one was. And this just kind of shows what Moonton has been doing as far as kind of like upping the ante and the level every single time we have another NACT here. This time, higher prize pool, live finals, and a ticket for somebody to go to MSC. It's getting bigger and better every single time we put this together, which is going to be amazing for both of these guys.
Well,
definitely slow growth, but you can see it incrementally joining. And we look at a little bit of the prize pool here and see that the first team takes away 15 grand and 100,000 diamonds. And moving down, there's still going to be some money until you get to 4th, and it's only diamonds. But still, you walk away with your pocket full of diamonds. That's got to be a couple of JJK skins or whatever skins come with. The Natan skin looks pretty good too. But these teams and have shown Moonton, and I think the scene as a whole has shown Moonton that we're here, we're serious, and we want a league. And this isn't exactly MPL, but it's like a hop and a skip away from it.
Yeah, this only gets better from here. I'm being so with all of these teams, it only gets bigger and better. All the money that's been involved, all the diamonds that are kind of getting infused into this, trying to make sure that North America has something there for it with all of this competition.
We are close. They are in draft. We will be there soon, but just round out the point again.
Whoa.
Moonton's really invested in us. Let's invest back in them. Show your support to these players. Build communities around them as they have been working so long and hard to, number one, get into this tournament, but they're going to be working so hard throughout these splits to gain notoriety in the game. And when you play the best, when you play somebody that's better than you, you get better. And so we're looking at these other teams, maybe some of the not the household names, maybe some newer players, to get all of this experience playing against these good players. It only strengthens the scene as a whole.
And that's why these next matches and what we're seeing are so important. It's not just about BTK, not just about the Ohio brothers, but the platform as a whole, with all of these teams here, the GOSUs, the Ackermans, the Wasians, the Area 77s who just kind of came back here, Empire and Lamy Top as well. All these teams vying to try to improve, to try to get to that point where they are something to be feared in North America.
This shit takes forever.
And then to make sure that what we produce, what we bring out to MSC is something noteworthy, something that everybody can have faith in, that is going to do well. And that's one of the biggest things that's going to be happening out here, and what we're all waiting for as a North American community member.
I mean, right now, if we sent the Ohio brothers, I know it's early, but if we sent the Ohio brothers to MSC, it's not a bad look, man. They look really clean in those games, and I want to see them. I want to see what they like playing from behind. I think sometimes it's really easy for a team of that stature to play from ahead and snowball a lead. But what happens when they get behind? What happens when somebody takes their early game away from them? And can they fight the diversity and show mental fortitude? I'm really curious to see how Ohio Brothers plays the rest of the season. What a start for them.
Yeah, a great start for them. And speaking of that, we're looking for one of these teams, an Ackerman or GOSU, to kind of take a star. What would it be? What would it mean for North America if we could get Ackerman or GOSU to a point where they might be actually taking on one of the top teams in the finals, or even them going to MSC? It would be a story for the ages. But guys, thank you so much for waiting along with us here. We are ready to go ahead and start this game one, round two of game one here. It's going to be Ackerman taking on Team GOSU here.
Yeah, so the lanes are swapped. XP lane's in the bottom this time. The gold lane's up at the top, but it's the exact same matchup here. And I think this favors a little bit on the side of GOSU. They don't have to play against a 3-0 Brody, but at the same time for Ackerman, Nicolette was 0-2. She didn't have a great early game, so this gives both teams a chance to reset.
Okay, they reset
a little bit of the nerves, a little bit more of a game plan walking into these comps.
Yeah,
they have to talk. They have to keep the game going.
Nicolette got caught,
to make it interesting,
which favored GOSU, and then you had Brody getting fed, Zia on that Brody getting fed, which favored Ackerman. So both teams had something to lose, able to reset here and see if they have a better plan going into this match.
Now, you know, it's not different or foreign to see supports help out the goal lane a little bit, but moving past level 2, both supports are still here. We may actually see a difference of a change. It may play a 2-1-1 rather than the 1-1 with 2 roams.
Ooh, you do see Anna kind of sneak in there, go ahead and gobble up that gold buff as well. A little bit of damage going on to Nicolette here. So, I mean, they're doing still not a lot happening here. Still 22 seconds left for that first turtle to come down.
I think the difference here you can see in GOSU is they're playing in mid lane. They're giving Midnight help to push in this Nicolette, making sure she doesn't get rotated, because last time we did this, Ackerman had this early game pressure in the mid and kept pushing in the Valentina, and Faramis was roaming out. And now, I mean, Nicolette went to her roamed to her death, but still, this is GOSU on the first rotation.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, what we had last time was a fight at the turtle, which favored GOSU. Even though they had an early cult altar there, Nicolette does have the cult altar right now. A lot of 4s up there on the map, so we have a ton of ultimates. Doesn't look like they are too concerned, is Ackerman, with this first turtle. They're going to go ahead and already put it on the great positioning on their side. A little bit of damage goes off to Nicolette. Is going to come in with that Shadow Stampede. Promise with the Black Dragon.
Nice.
Snatches up this turtle, and there's a cult altar. Double cult altars out there by both teams.
Oh my god, this is like
the other one. We're still topped up here, trying to find out. Here comes a time journey from Milo. Is it going to be enough? No, Anna actually gets taken out there. What a statement right now, as
they got the turtle
the member from that huge
they got a kill
and topped up fight.
Nice.
What a steal coming in from Kush, who was actually doing his red buff, saying, hey, I don't need to be there right now. This team's like, hey, Promise is going to Black Dragon. Please come over here and steal this. Comes in with the red tree, does take the objective, and they get a kill. So it wasn't just objective, and you've got to criticize GOSU there. They had the position on Lord. They had the setup. Where was the defense for Anna there to take that and to peel off the rest of Ackerman, pushing him out?
Yeah, that's the crazy thing to me, is that especially with all of that tops up and the time journey, still able to take down basically the tankiest member of the team was Ackerman, and that might actually set a tone once we're moving into the rest of these fights and maybe other turtle fights here, because like we said, the first time this happened, there was a lot of pressure and GOSU actually came out on top. Right now, Ackerman, and we've said it is their game to lose right now. Unfortunately, we do have another call for ADC. And actually having some issues here.
Who's DCing?
The red side, that was, is that GOSU? I can't.
No, yes, it is GOSU, but it's Fredrin again. He DC'd last game. Looks like he's DC'd again. Unfortunately, some definite Wi-Fi issues coming in from GOSU, and they're going to have to play through those and see what they can accomplish here. But Fredrin not having any fun, and that may be why he did go down right there, is because he was lagging or something like that, and just wasn't able to move out of all this damage. Because you're right, with the Dicky moving people around, they should have mobility to get out of this, and it's the tankiest member on their team. But again, Ackerman offers no resort, nothing, straight to the kill, takes it and moves on.
Bro,
yeah,
Jellyman, how's it going?
I mean, not
bro,
there,
I just want to watch this game.
Not a great look right now. They're doing their best to kind of come up when it comes to these fights there. It's very hard sometimes when it comes into there to see when these fights are going on with so many abilities going off, to see who's standing still and who might be taking advantage of a situation. Zia popped a little low, is still getting topped up by Toinks there.
But it won't be like that kill means a lot. The 200 gold for the kill does go on to the Estes. Now, a lot of people get the 60% gold split between all those assists. Now, that's a little bit, but it's not like a 200 gold jump went on one of the carries for the side of Ackerman. So not a huge deal, but it's a little bit of worry. I was thinking about how this team fight breaks down, and then you have 2 Cult Altars, and then you have Estes healing the whole time. Both the Cult Altars honestly elongate the team fight and just make the Estes do even more healing over time and get more value out of that.
Yeah, right now actually between 2 members of Ackerman is going to catch a decent amount of damage. Dashing away to safety, now being topped up by Toinks there. Kush starting on this turtle. Has a reverse time latched onto him. Uzi dives in with the bravest fighter, but here comes Promise with that Black Dragon. Trying to put on the damage. Kush safely secures that turtle. Now we are trying to put on the pressure to GOSU now that we have that turtle. Are we going to be able to succeed? Nicolette with a great hole in front.
Look at this.
Shadow Stampede pulls in
Look at this.
Going into the back line, 3 kills for nothing. Now he set his sight on Anna. Is he going to be able to take him down? Kush gets slowed down by that retry, not able to get that maniac, unfortunately.
I think the only reason Kush just didn't get a maniac is because he ran out of mana. He has the ice retry himself to follow, didn't have the mana to finish. Maybe a little bit more here as GOSU gets caught. Carry goes down. This is disaster for the side of GOSU early. They're now 5k gold behind, and it's 5 minutes in.
Yeah, 5 minutes in, a kill a minute, basically. Milo defenseless up here by himself to try to protect his tower. And they're going to go ahead and secure that orange buff. A great game so far for Ackerman, having a great presence on the map right now and already pushed in 2 towers on the side of GOSU.
Big swing of gold here. Honestly, this is kind of worse than it was last time in round 1 before we disconnected and did the lobby, because now the kills are on Karina and Nicolette, and that gives so much pressure in the mid rotation as Nicolette and Kush hook up and they start moving through this jungle and providing so much pressure to the other teams.
Oh my. Mellow Dick, you're trolling. Yeah, this is GG.
No, I think it was only 2 more. No, it was 3. Oh my god, take it down. Now there's only 4 members taking off the map. And Guapsi is alone here to try to fend this off, and that's a carry.
What is happening?
6-minute mark, so you know she doesn't really have the damage to fend off this attack.
Oh no, this is a disaster for GOSU. This right now is starting to be a snowball that can't be stopped. They're up almost 8k gold right now, and it's 6 minutes in, and both the mid lane turrets are down, and that means that the entire line of Ackerman is going to be in the jungle of GOSU. Now no longer can Frederick farm. Now they have to take the long way around in rotations, and Ackerman has so much access to this map.
Yeah, this is what we have been talking about when that python-like stranglehold gets onto them. There's not much that can be done unless you're keeping them escaping. You see Nicolette with a beautiful stampede allows Zia the momentum he needs to put on the damage and clean up 2 members of GOSU additionally. This is an 11-0 game right now in a 10k gold lead for Ackerman.
They are all gas, no brakes. They're not going to stop this at all. They're going to continue to dive, and I expect them to try to end the game before like the 12-minute mark. They're at that type of pressure here. And here again, Zia is back at that 3-0 like it's last game all over again, but this time it's a whole lot worse.
Yeah, Uzi tries to come in there, but the bravest fighter is going to go ahead and have to find his way, or he didn't come in with the bravest fighter, but does dash himself out to safety. Nicolette coming in does look for a Shadow Stampede, is not able to latch onto any gold GOSU members here. Now we're rushing towards mid. Are we going to go ahead and put on something?
GOSU's not the same.
Damage gets taken out by Zia there.
GOSU's not the same.
4-0-4 for Zia right now. A little bit of a hellos going on there from Guapsi. And unfortunately, just not a great game for GOSU right now, pushing towards the top here. And comes in bravest fighter by Uzi. Cold Altar has been activated. Time Journey on the side of GOSU. Now we're diving in deep. Kush smells blood in the wire, goes in, able to pick up a kill, followed by Zia picking up his own kill as well. 4 members of Ackerman here.
Look at them move as a unit.
This tower, they're going to go ahead and clean it up. They haven't even cleaned up the bottom row yet. They're going to push right through the mid. Look at the damage that just went on the Milo there.
Oh my god.
With that torn apart member.
Oh my god.
Of this core, that is game 1 going over to Ackerman over GOSU.
I wonder if we can get some statisticians in anywhere to tell us, is that the fastest game we've seen in North America Pro scene? Because that was fast. That was so quick. Ackerman, all gas, no brakes, straight down the middle. They don't take a Lord. We don't need any jungle. We're going to end the game right here in a sub 9-minute game. What a performance.
Yeah, an amazing game by Ackerman there.
You're in love with the
Unfortunately, there's only so much that can be done with if there's any lag issues going on, and especially when you need to call those out to everybody. Ackerman, I mean, just played such a solid game, and especially the changes from the beginning, from that first, from the first time, and then Nicolette definitely learning from her first time and not getting caught as much, and then starting to kind of feed up into the Brody, feed up into that Karina as well.
Karina looked really smooth on that and just had the gold lead to die 6-0-4 and Zia 6-0-6. I don't know who to give the MVP to because this whole team was in the base of GOSU at 6 minutes, 4 members in, diving, looking like a German cutting into lanes.
Yeah, and it was amazing. I do love the angles that Kush was able to come from, especially that second time he came in there for a triple kill, basically coming in for the flank once the team kind of got super low. And just an amazing gameplay there by Karina, because not just picking up one, really utilizing that shadow assault from her where it resets if you get the kill. So he found the group of them super low, able to get that shadow kill, and then shadow assault, and then shadow assault, and then shadow assault to kind of take down the members quickly and efficiently.
What a game. I'm kind of like starstruck by the speed at which Ackerman just ran through the game.
8 minutes.
And this will be a test of
they beat them in 8 minutes.
If they can take this L, right, and bounce back in this game too. What can they do in this game to because I mean you just got railed. You gotta like wash this out of your head and you gotta go forward and start at 0-0 because you can't go into this next game holding that 16-0 loss in your head. You have to reset mentally and walk into this game with a strong mental fortitude.
Well, and yeah, and if a team like GOSU, I have no doubts can actually bounce back from it. They've been around for a while. This is their first rodeo. This isn't their first loss, so bouncing back is not going to be a problem for them. I think that the biggest thing is that mental fortitude when it came to kind of some of the Wi-Fi issues. Can we get that out of our head and just be like, Brad, all right, bad luck in the first one. Let's go ahead, make up for it in the second one, because they were actually doing well in the first game. And then a lot of this, maybe that is kind of like one of those things that kind of got iced out once a lot of the pauses came out. They lost the momentum with it. But I mean, that's the story of the game. And that's honestly, I mean, that's North America for you. One of our states is pretty much about the size of whole regions in C server. And there's just a lot of distance to cover. A lot of lag issues can sometimes come from it. And it's just something that you have to learn to kind of to adjust to in North America.
Right.
Who's giving up already last?
Does play an issue, and we're actually going to go to a short break and review some of these things to see if we can up the level of integrity for this game and give them a little bit of a fighting chance. Before we go to game 2, we'll take a short break and we'll be right back.
GOSU. Everyone always has this issue, like Wi-Fi issues and stuff. Yeah, BTK needs practice for sure. I'm just gonna stream like the end of this series and then call it a night. Bro, 5 more minutes? I feel like they extended it.